Check, check. 1, 2. And welcome to the Powerboat World. Joining us here from Ocean City, Maryland. We are live at Race World Offshore's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Welcome to the Ocean City Grand Prix. This is Todd Swafford, joined by Eric Colby of SpeedOnTheWater.com. Our live stream brought to you by Maximum Inflation. Stay safe and prepared on the water with Leland Management's Maximum Inflation CO2 cartridges. Trusted by the U.S. military, NASA, and the U.S. Coast Guard. Find these reliable rearming kits at West Marine, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, and local marine stores. As we look out at the shots of the beach here, miles and miles of beautiful beaches in Ocean City, and the waters right here of the Atlantic Ocean off of Ocean City's boardwalk. What a beautiful town. It's almost like being in Key West, which is where Race World Offshore and this broadcaster is from. And Eric, you're staying down on the beach. It's a great town.
Oh God, it's beautiful. And this is, Chamber of Commerce couldn't have asked for better weather for the races. It looks like it's going to be manageable, calm to rough, and not a lot of wind. So I'm looking forward to getting this going.
Yeah, I mean, this typically can be a very rough race. They have raced here on and off since 1992.
Yep.
Once you start getting into summer, you can deal with some pretty strong east winds or northeast winds that can cause a lot of trouble for powerboat racing. But we've got ideal conditions here in Ocean City. The winds are coming off the shore and forecast today at about 10 to 15 miles an hour out of the west. So it's coming from the shore, and with the ground swell that comes in, the water, coming into the beaches, this course is just so close to shore. We're going to have a really nice day, and they're expecting pretty much the same tomorrow with some increasing winds early at sunrise, but they'll die off by the time we start racing tomorrow at 12 noon. Now, racing is about a half hour away. The boats will take about 20 minutes to get from the cranes out to the milling area. So we have a little bit of time to set the stage here for what's going on in Ocean City, Maryland. It's a double points race here in the APBA National Series, so that's really going to help some teams that are lacking in points or had some trouble earlier the year with mechanical issues. They'll be able to earn double points here. We have a good showing of boats, 33 boats registered here for this event, Eric.
33 boats, but the nice thing is in the, if you want to call them the national classes, we have 9 Supercats, I believe. We have 4 bracket 450 boats. We have 5 to 6, I believe, Mod V boats. So we're going to see some really good competition. We're a little light on the bracket entries, which are the open cockpit kind of older style boats. But the other thing for those guys in the canopy boats, when I was driving over here yesterday from Baltimore, the weather said 88 degrees, for most of the afternoon. Today we're 75. And these boats aren't air conditioned for the most part, so the crews will be much more comfortable inside those enclosed cockpits when it's 75 degrees instead of 88 or 90.
Yeah, the forecast is calling for temperatures around 75, 77 today and tomorrow. So yeah, it's wonderful. This is really a kickoff to the summer here for the beaches of Ocean City, Maryland, on the Eastern Shore. This is a summer hub for tourist vacations from people from Virginia to the capital, Washington, D.C., from Baltimore, from the surrounding areas of Philadelphia, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and the hotels are packed for this big
yeah.
race this
Well,
weekend.
The whole thing about places like this too is it always seems the same thing. There's one way in and one way out. So the getting, it's one of these things. We're getting here. Once you're here, it's great. But the hotels are packed. The beaches are. I mean, take a look. All the spectators are going to be seeing some good action today, and I couldn't think of a better condition. Really, could you?
No, not at all. And I mean, Ocean City, the beaches here are meticulously maintained. You won't find beautiful beaches anywhere. Great restaurants. The boardwalk, the famous boardwalk, amusements for the youngsters, and fine hotels and resorts.
I think the boardwalk stretches like 16 miles or something, right?
The beaches and the beaches and the boardwalk where the amusements are is kind of right down where the inlet is, where the boats will come out.
Yep.
And there's a fishing pier there. There's just a ton of things to do in Ocean City, Maryland. I've had the opportunity to be here probably about 7-8 times. If you listen to some of our interviews on Facebook, one of the guys that's always working with us behind the scenes is John Powell, my best friend from growing up in Key West, and he spent over 20 years working and raising a family here after he left Key West. So I got to come up here quite a bit and know the area well, and we've just love it a bunch. It's so much like Key West in so many ways. I can see why he moved up here, but in terms of beaches, my goodness, these beaches go on for miles and miles, and they are absolutely amazing. Eric, the races today are going to be the bracketed boats. The first start that we have is bracketed boats 5, 6, and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And once that race is over, we will come back around, and second start of the day will be the factory 450R boats.
Yeah, the bracketed boats, why we call them that is they are handed a piece of speed monitoring equipment by the race officials before the races start. And each bracketed class has a set speed that they cannot exceed. So for 500, I believe that it's 75 miles an hour, right? And then 700, it's 60 miles an hour. So the idea is to run 59.8 miles an hour or 59.9 miles per hour in bracket 700 for as much as you can without exceeding that, because then you get a time penalty for every time you exceed that. So it's a different style of racing. And then we'll switch over to the first of our fully enclosed, purpose-built race boats for the second race. And that is 38 to 40-foot catamarans powered by Mercury Racing 450R outboards. And the interesting thing that we saw this morning to maintain equality and parity in that class is the teams are given the ECUs, which is the electronic control unit for each engine, by the officials at the drivers' meetings this morning. And then they put them on the motors. They can't touch them. They can't tamper with them in any way. And the officials after the race can check that to make sure that took place. So I think we're going to see some good racing. The 500 boats will love this water. The 700 boats, they're 20 to 22 feet, so they're always going to look like they're bouncing around. But they have great competition. Yeah,
the bracket is quite a challenge. You think about it, you have a boat that can, say in bracket 700, run 70 miles an hour, but you can't run at 70 miles an hour. You can only go up. You've got to hold that boat right at 60, and the inspectors, when they get those data cards back, they'll look at them. If you jump off a wave and you lose it for a second or so, that's okay. But they're looking out for breakouts of over 2.5, 3 seconds.
Right.
And one thing about it is, at the end of the day, because it's so difficult to hold those boats inside those time restraints or those speed restraints, is that we do have a lot of breakouts in bracketed class. It does happen.
Yeah. They take that into account. And plus, the other thing you have to deal with the ocean is tidal switches, and if there's any kind of underlying, it's not really a current with a tidal switch, but the water's moving, so that can have an effect on your overall speed. The other cool thing about the bracket 700 class is it's really kind of the showcase for some of the second generation competitors.
Yes.
Owen Buis is 15 years old, and he's the throttleman for the Statement Marine X Insurance boat. And I'm pretty sure they're leading national points right now.
Absolutely. We caught up with Owen in the pits, and He is a hard charging young man. Loves powerboat racing. Is hoping when he turns to 16 that he's going to jump into a canopy boat with possibly with his dad or for his dad's Statement Marine team. And we chatted with the young man. Owen Buis joins us of the Class 7 X Insurance Statement Marine team. Owen, I was talking to your dad, Nick Buis, who's running first place in Mod V in the X Insurance, the LSB, the old Brit Lilly LSB boat.
Yep.
And he said that you were the inspiration for getting him back into racing because it was your passion as a young guy, right now just 15 years old, that wanted to go back racing. Your dad had been racing, 20 years earlier, and won a Super Cat World Championship with his Statement Marine team.
Yeah, I think it was 2004.
2004. Yep, exactly. And but it was you nagging him about it that ended up getting him in a boat. Tell us that story.
So it was probably 2020, and we went to the Tampa Bay Poker Run hosted by Stu Jones, and me and my buddy started a Instagram. Me and Dalton Palestra, who I used to race with in probably 2023. That's who I won, or we just went out and did Englewood together, but we started in Marathon, Florida. It was our first race, but we were in separate boats, one the 22 Activator and the 22 Velocity. So we went out and just broke out for a total of 20 seconds each, and just kind of went on from there. So we started and we got bigger wraps, better. We got the boat set up a lot better. Just kind of went on from there.
Dad ultimately really wanted to have you in a canopy boat, but the rules say you have to be 16. Amazing. And that's how you guys ended up in these Class 700 boats, which are, they're really cool looking little boats, but they're hard to handle.
Oh yeah, trying to hold this thing at 60 with 300 horsepower is not an easy task. If I could set the boat up, it will do over 100, but trying to hold it at 60 is a whole different animal. It's against everything you know. Everyone in the racing community is trying to go fast, fast, fast. In a bracket class, you're just trying to go slow, 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 and make it inefficient.
And a breakout, well, it'll cause you a penalty and cause you to lose a hard day's effort.
Yeah, so if you go over 60 for over 3 seconds, then you're done. And if anyone else breaks out, or if anyone else doesn't break out, and you break out by 0.1 second, you're in last. You're done. You're out of that.
Talking with Owen Buis, we'll see him in the Class 700 X Insurance. Statement Marine is your dad's company, is really into the 700 class. there's names of Statement Marine on all kinds of boats here.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's been a good season so far. We're in first for points in bracket 700 and Mod V so far, and 500, but I think we're doing pretty good this season.
Now, you'll be 16 next year. Does that mean that you will get to be at some point inside a canopy boat?
So I turn 16 in September, which is 2 days before Clearwater.
Okay.
So depending on how we're doing in points, I might jump in the Mod V and run that for Clearwater. We don't know yet though.
So it may be possible for you to run up on the National Series too.
Yeah, you might see me make an appearance in that Mod V boat. Who knows though? I'll try and race 7 for as long as I can because I love that class. That's what I started in. I never want to sell my Activator, but I'd like to move into canopy. It's just a lot safer.
Owen Buis joins us. One of your dad's good friends, Mark Granite, is a commentator as well. They say that you watch boat race videos all the time, and that you're really interested in the broadcasting side of it.
Yeah, I've tried to watch as much videos as I can, learn as much stuff about the drivers, the boats, engine specs. I've always been a big fan of the Superboat International Series where they sent, what was it, CNN or CBS? I don't remember.
It was an NBC.
Yeah, NBC. They did that in Key West, and I was always into that. I've seen those videos 20 times each out of the 3 episodes that they did every year.
They were probably in the last 10 years the best powerboat television show that ever came out. And in my opinion, one of the reasons why, there was still some good rough water. And I think with boat racing, you need rough water. You need action, not just boats running around on a flat course. You want to see that action of not only side-by-side boats, but boats flying off waves.
Yeah, I agree. NBC did such a good job, too, with the live cockpit footage, the speeds. They did a course setup map. I mean, it was great. It's always good. It's always good to watch that stuff.
Live stream is really important to all of the families and the fans. Not everybody can make it to the races, but it's also important to you, the driver, because you get a chance to go back and watch it yourself later.
I agree. Yeah, I've always watched. I bet I've seen every X Insurance sports video there is on that page 20 plus times. I mean, I've seen every bracket video maybe 30, because I always rewatch it, see what I'm doing wrong, and see what I can do better.
And X Insurance is a big factor in that. Rick Lindsay flying his helicopter,
Yeah.
and Parker taking those videos. And the last time that we worked together, Race World Offshore in Marathon with them, we had excellent helicam footage. That was a really one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, I agree. The videos of the Super Cats running so close together they've been better than anything else have been for the past years. I mean, it's never been this good.
Well, Owen, look forward to talking to you again real soon, and and hope that your pursuit to try and get inside of a canopy boat happens here when your birthday comes around. It's been fun talking to you, and we'll talk again. Good luck out there on the ocean in Class 700 this weekend.
Thank you.
It's something, isn't it? 15 years old.
15 years old.
And it started a whole charge of young guys running, and Dalton, his friend.
Dalton Palestra,
Yeah.
I guess Dalton is also quite a baseball player, so he's had kind of dueling commitments. And I know he's hoping to get back to offshore racing. You got Dominic Stancombe out of Indianapolis, son of Mike Stancombe.
Yeah, actually, I talked to Nick Buis about it, and he blames Mike for inspiring him and with other youngsters to run with Owen to have him spend all this money.
Yeah, Nick sent me a photo from Lake of the Ozarks last week, and it was Cameron Turk, Owen Buis, Dominic Stancombe, and another friend of theirs, their age, who's part of the MCON crew. And it was all the kids sitting together just watching the races out at Lake of the Ozarks. So they've developed quite a friendship, and now with texting and all the other social channels, they stay in touch all the time.
If you're just tuning in, this is the Race World Offshore Ocean City Grand Prix, live at Race World Offshore's YouTube channel and also at Race World Offshore's Facebook page. We're also streaming locally here in Ocean City on RadioOceanCity.com. Your beach vibe always available 24/7 at RadioOceanCity.com. Todd Swafford along with Eric Coley of Speed on the Water. We saw the bracketed boats come out. We have bracket classes 5 and 7 that are going to run here this afternoon first for the roughly 1 o'clock start. And then immediately following our factory 450R boats that are running here today. Tomorrow, beginning at 12 noon, the Mod Vs will come out first, race 1. Then race 2 at about 1:30, the Super Vs, and then bracketed class 2 and 3. And then we'll end the day with our biggest field of boats at 2:30, the Super Cats. And again, we want to welcome all of our local listeners down on the beach and out on the boats that are listening at RadioOceanCity.com. We appreciate RadioOceanCity.com for joining us. Always great to have a live local partner here in the city, in the Big OC. So bracketed boats first, and then later on this afternoon, it's the factory 450R boats. And in a second here, we'll take a look at the course on today's Ocean City Grand Prix. Eric, again, as you mentioned earlier, it's a beautiful day here. As you can see, kind of a ground swell that comes in off the Atlantic Ocean. It was reported it was about at 3 to 4 feet. The intervals about 7 to 8 seconds, so they're spaced at about 3 or 4 feet apart. The forecast calls for wave heights to be between 2 and 3 feet, and the wind again is coming from the shore, so it's coming out of the west, and it shouldn't be much of a factor. It's exactly what we're expecting as we look on top of Rick Lindsay's X Insurance helicam that will be following the boats, and that's down on the north end of the course where they'll mill and they'll actually come down the beach. This is a counterclockwise course, and they will run towards the start-finish line. It's a yellow buoy, which is right outside where we are. We are on the top of the penthouse of the Quality Inn on the beach here. So it's right on the beach. It's actually on, if you're familiar with Ocean City, it's right down 16th Street. And the course, which is 4 miles long, it runs right down the beach. You know, it's, as you can see here, it's almost north-south, but actually the beach itself is kind of tucked in on the north side, so it is protected from a north wind. But the boats will mill down there or up there towards the north side by turn 2, and they'll run all the way down, get them lined up and release. The official start won't actually happen until they pass the start-finish line, which is, of course, the yellow buoy, and that will mark the first lap of the day, Eric.
Yeah, that will mark the start of the first lap, and then when they come all the way back around is when they'll count lap number 1 for each race. And we're just on a little bit of a delay because one of the 700 boats was a little late getting out here. They must have had an issue. But pretty straightforward course. There's no dog legs or anything to have to deal with like we've seen at other locations. And when you talk about milling, what that means is they're off plane, they're idling, and they circle around in this milling area that they're told to be in with the other boats in their class. Then when the pace boat shows them orange smoke, that tells them they have 2 minutes until they're going to line them up. And the way they do this is they run down the course at probably, depending on the class, 30 to 40 miles an hour for these guys. The official's job is to get them all lined up so it's a fair start. No one's out front, no one's holding back and kind of sandbagging and then nailing the gas and coming charging up. They want to try to get it as fair as they can, and when it looks fair, they will throw the green flag.
Look down on top of a class 500. Yep. Class 517. Bulletproof, Craig Belfato and Elijah Kingery aboard that boat. The one part of the course we might see a little more bump, obviously the outside leg.
Yep.
Once they go around turn 2, you're a little farther away from shore, a little more towards where the wind is making a little more impact on those incoming waves. But at the south end of the turn, at turn number 1, that's closer to the inlet, down where the boardwalk is, the fishing pier. There's about a 4 or 5 knot current coming out of there, and the tide is outgoing all day. And you might see some of the waves standing up a little bit more on that south end of the turn. So it's a giant long oval, 2 pin turns on the east side and the west side of both of those turns. So we have 4 turns here in this race, all turn in left hand here for the Ocean City Grand Prix.
Yeah, and the way they'll line them up is the faster boats in the bracket 700 will be, we have orange smoke, so they're going to get them lined up pretty quick. But the bracket boats in 500 will be on the inside of the course, so they can get out in front of the 700 boats. And then it just kind of makes it safer for the 2 groups to race themselves instead of having them interspersed with the slow boats and the fast boats side by side.
Live coverage here from Ocean City, Florida. It's the Ocean City Grand Prix, the next race of the American Powerboat Association National Series. And we thank Ocean City. Plan your visit at ococean.com. Also by Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the American Powerboat Association National Series. Sunoco Race Fuels, go fast. Locate one near you at SunocoRaceFuels.com. And by the Harrison Group, hotels, restaurants, relaxation, OC. Back on top with X-Insurance Helicam as the boats mill. They'll mill counterclockwise. They'll get them lined up.
They're starting to move towards getting into position now. They're antsy. They want to go.
And again, these are all V bottoms, open cockpit boats. The boats you'll see later today and most tomorrow will all be cockpit boats.
Yeah, these are most similar to your pleasure boats. They have a V-shaped bottom. They're designed to cut through the waves. They just happen to have a lot less cockpit space than your family bow rider or deck boat. But like say the boat you see there, the red and white boat, the Rum Runners boat, that's a Scarab. Wellcraft used to sell the Scarabs. The boat to the left of the screen on the farthest outside lane, that's a Warlock. They're built in California. So there's a lot of familiar names in these classes.
And they're going to line up class.
Yep, yellow flag's going up right now.
Class 5 to 7. The grid order is going to be based on where they finished in the last race, and that'll get the inside lines. And then some of the new boats that are here, they'll have to go to the outside.
Yep.
In their class.
Some of the other classes do it as a lane draw the morning of the race, and that's what you'll see this afternoon with the 450 class.
And boats will have to maintain their lanes all the way through the first turn.
So your inside lane looks to be the TFR X Insurance Golf and Gator, the 30-foot Phantom with J.J. Turk and Nick Buis. Lane 2, I'm thinking that's Tunnel Vision with Michael McColgan and Robert Bryant. Lane 3 is Bulletproof with Craig Belfato and Elijah Kingery. And lane 4 is Rum Runners with driver Tom Crowley and throttles Fran Bellatato.
Oh, there the green flag is up and the race is on. The 2024 Ocean City Grand Prix presented by Race World Offshore. As we watch the Class 500 boats, well, they're, of course, going to...
It's actually Rum Runners in lane 2 and Tunnel Vision's lane 4.
Yeah, they're going to move away from the Class 700 boats who can only run 60 miles an hour.
Now, this is where it's got to be tough to not just firewall that throttle stick. You got to hold it to 75 miles an hour, or you're going to break out.
Well, they're coming towards the official start of this race in terms of laps. You'll see the yellow buoy coming onto your screen. It's a 4-mile course, and these boats are running 9 laps in Class 500.
And they just passed, so that's the official start of the race right there, for lack of a better term.
Looking back towards the west end to the beaches of Ocean City, Maryland, we are racing.
And what a show they're giving them.
They are.
Now here's your 700 boats.
You got to love these guys. They're so much fun to watch. As Owen talked about, he could set that boat up to run 90, 100, but he's bracketed at 60.
He's in the lead right now in the Statement Insurance Statement Marine X Insurance with driver Ricky Harmeyer. Now we're back to the lead in the bracket 500 class.
Yeah, the X Insurance Golf and Gator, J.J. Turk and Nick Buis
pulling out to a lead. They had to hold their lanes through the first turn, but after that they can go wherever someone isn't basically on the course. You don't want to cut people off or get in a collision, but you can now kind of try to move around lanes to improve your position, because in these classes it's rare that you're going to get past someone on a straightaway if you're all bracketed at 75 miles an hour.
It'll be interesting to watch these Class 700 boats and see how they handle the ground swell, if they get a little more air than the Class 500 boats.
Yeah, now second place there is a Hartman X Insurance with John Izzetti and Jerry Hartman on the throttles. And third is Team Shadow, which is out of the 21 Shadow with Lou LaFerrera and Kyle Zangle. Now we're back to X Insurance Golf and Gator, the 30-foot Phantom, based out of Cocoa Beach, where J.J. Turk is from. And
back now to Class 700.
Still the battle for second and third in 700. That's Hartman X Insurance in second, and Phantom, or Team Shadow rather, in third.
What a gorgeous day here in Ocean City, Maryland. Looking back at the Class 700 boats, and they're keeping them pretty well in the water here this afternoon. Our first start of 2 days of racing.
Oh, the fourth place boat looks like that's Chug It with Chase Muller and Jax Muller out of Lake Hopatcong. And then the orange boat is Lake Hopatcong Marine, which is a 21 Shadow with Michael and Anthony Guido.
So, yeah, we have a couple of new boats from the area coming in and racing for the first time here in Class 700.
And if the name Muller and Lake Hopatcong sound familiar, they're the sons of Jay Muller, who throttles WHM Motorsports in the Super Cat class. Now there's your Class 7 leaders, 1, 2, and 3, and that shows you how competitive this is. I mean, whoa. Tunnel Vision kind of had a problem holding the line there. That was the third place boat in bracket 500. That's a 28 Pantera with a big engine in it, and they're really working together
keep that boat under bracketed speed.
Just keeping it, they're the newest team in the class right now. JJ and Nick are pretty new too, but they have a proven hull that was set up for them perfectly. Rum Runners is a very good 26 Scarab out of, that's a local boat, and Tom Crowley, Fran Velitato couldn't say enough about Tom's driving at Lake of the Ozarks. He's so pleased with how they're coming together.
So coming around after lap number 1 of 9, it's the ex-insurance team, Buis and Turk, that have the lead.
Yep.
And that is the official finish of lap number 1. Here come our next boats up.
Rum Runners in second, and Bulletproof and Tunnel Vision are almost a dead heat for third and fourth.
And a look back at Class 700. One thing you will see throughout these races over the 2 days is boats, having the lead is hugely important. You can establish the line that you want to run. You want to try and stay out of the dirty water, the wake in front of you. So obviously,
right,
if you're up front, you have that opportunity.
And especially in these narrow beam V-bottoms, they'll get them oscillating side to side when when the waves hit them from the side. You want to try to take a V-bottom and punch it straight through a wave. Oh, someone struck a buoy in turn 2, so that's going to be a time penalty for whoever the officials say hit it. And here we have Lake Hapatcong Marine and Chug It again. And Chug It is a velocity, which is a little different running surface than the traditional V-bottoms because it has a wide, flat pad at the back of the boat.
Good look overhead at Tunnel Vision.
The Pantera, which is a favorite of rough water aficionados in all elements of high-performance boating.
Michael McLaughlin and Robert Bryant running in second, in fourth in Class 500. There's Team Farnsworth.
The ex-insurance helicopter shot. Yep. I mean, how pretty is that?
The Bulletproof team with Craig Valfato and Elijah Kingery.
Yeah, they've switched up positions. Elijah's throttling now, and Craig's driving. And that's one of the few boats in these classes that actually has suspension seats to make it a little easier on the team.
Live coverage at Race World Onshore's YouTube channel and Facebook page. And also here locally at Radio Ocean City, Beach Vibes, RadioOceanCity.com, 24/7.
We're still waiting for the 700 boats to complete lap 1, correct?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Well, honestly, I've been watching the screen pretty closely. That's a good point.
I'm thinking they should be coming by any minute.
Yeah, they should be.
But here's Rum Runners. This is now when people hear the name Scarab, this is a Larry Smith Scarab that was purpose-built for racing years ago. This boat was not built at Wellcraft in Sarasota, Florida. But look at just a classic V-bottom, the way Tom can turn that boat. They're still talking about being able to turn it tighter and tighter as he gets more comfortable.
Yeah, and I mean, if we did miss them, we'll catch up to them when they come back around the second time. I haven't seen them go down. They did pass by us, so they are out. Class 700, folks, is out on their second lap. We'll get you updated on them when they come back through as we watch Class 500 coming in after lap number 2, and it continues to be the Statement Marine Team, ex-insurance, Nick Buis and JJ Turk with the lead. Still chasing them closely as Rum Runners, Tunnel Vision, and the Bulletproof team. Good look overhead of Buis and Turk. It's been a great season for them.
Yeah, and that boat has been a front runner in Bracket 500 for a few years. Michael Stancombe stepped out of the boat after Key West last year, and then JJ made the partnership with Nick, and it's been successful so far.
They are completing lap number 2, Tunnel Vision.
That's Rum Runners in second.
Rum Runners in second. That was a shot of Tunnel Vision, which
Tunnel Vision is in third.
Right.
And Bulletproof Team Farnsworth is in fourth. So they're holding station right now.
They're all holding close to their bracketed speed. We hope, we think, that these races will always get determined officially afterwards because they'll turn in their data cards and the race officials will check all of these boats in all different classes. So We get a great
Yeah,
shot of
especially
front
with 4 boats in a class. They're going to tech them all in case somebody did break out, because that will move someone up or down. Or
as they dive there to the inside, which will be the tighter line around this course. They had to pull off the throttle there a little bit, and something may have gone wrong.
Yeah, I was
with
wondering there because they looked like they. We'll have to keep an eye out for rum runners as the race goes on.
Now, this is
still
this is Class 700.
Statement X Insurance leading.
Yep.
With I think that's Team Shadow. I'm not sure. We're trying to get them, but these little boats are coming towards us right now. And then that's Hartman X Insurance in third.
As our X Insurance Celicamp follows the overall leader here, Class 500, Nick Buis and J.J. Turk. The Ocean City Grand Prix here on this beautiful Saturday off the waters of Ocean City, Maryland, on the Eastern Shore.
Well, the cool thing is Rick Lindsay is supporting teams at this level, and even in bracket 700 as well as in the bigger classes, because everyone could use a little financial help in this sport.
X Insurance also sponsoring Buis's Mod V. So that's the second, number 2 boat there coming through. I think you're
Lake Hapakong. That's Lake Hapakong Marine right there.
Yeah, they're running in 3rd place.
I've got them 4th.
Do you have them 4th? Okay. Who's second?
Second was Team Shadow. 3rd was Hartman X Insurance. 4th is Chug It now, and 5th is actually Lake Hapakong.
There are 2 laps of 6 in for bracket class 700. Apologies, 7 laps for class 700 here today as they continue to extend their lead in class 500. X Insurance, there's your number 2 boat coming around the north turn number 1.
This is where you start saying, I hope Nick isn't getting too assertive on the throttle.
Yeah, Rum Runners
is down.
We did see that they came off power as we lost the shot at that moment when they went around the turn 1 the last time.
And usually if the helmets are off, that's pretty much saying they're done. I'm sorry to say.
Looking back towards the fans lining the beaches here in Ocean City, Maryland. Rum Runners down. The yellow flag is out for caution.
A yellow flag means basically when you get to the area where there's a potential problem, just be aware of it. They don't necessarily mandate slowing, or it's not like a red. The course isn't going to stop. And here is Rick Lindsay looking down on his favorite Class 5 boat, X Insurance, which is also still sponsored, I believe, by Golf and Gator, which is over in Cocoa Beach.
Tunnel Vision in second in Class 500.
Yep.
Bulletproof in third. As we look at our number 2, 3 boats, I believe, or it looks like Statement might have gotten around, but he's got the farther.
Oh, Hartman Statement, yep, might have gotten around Team Shadow,
but
in bracket 700.
Yeah, Shadow's got the shorter way around the course here.
Yep. And we are still in the yellow flag until we can get Rum Runners cleared and into the middle of the course.
This is where you don't want to hit the throttle a little bit too much and break out of your 60-mile-an-hour bracket just because the guy got around you, or vice versa.
Yeah, you're gnashing your teeth saying, come on, we can get around this guy.
I had a long conversation with Owen's dad, Nick, who was aboard the X Insurance right there, about that. He said it drove him crazy the first time he was in a bracketed boat. The race couldn't be over soon enough for him.
Yep.
It was because you couldn't push the boat to its exact limits.
Well, and given this boat's pedigree, and then the pedigree of the Mod V boat that they raced together, Nick was kind of like, well, the only thing I can do is look bad, because they've won so much before I got in them.
Right.
And now he's, I'd say he's doing pretty well.
All right, so we do have a yellow flag. We do have a boat down on the course.
Yep.
But racing resumes. And I think another reason why there's concern is because apparently we have a buoy that got clipped, and we're not sure whether or not it's out of service or if it's having to be removed from the course because it is popped. But that could be another concern for
and that
race
also
officials.
adds to the navigational challenges when you're running 70 miles an hour, and you need a mark of the course so you know where to turn.
Here comes our leaders again in Class 700, bracketed speed 60 miles an hour. Boats we'll see later on today, they can run as fast as they can go. The factory 450Rs will get racing around 2 o'clock here in the Ocean City Grand Prix.
And that's Owen and Jerry Harmeyer in the Statement Marine X Insurance 22-foot activator built up in Long Island. The activators and the superboats do pretty well in this class, and this is the Pantera, again, the 28 with tunnel vision with Michael McColgan and Robert Bryant. Robert was last year's world and national champion in bracket 700 with Cameron Turk, JJ Turk's son.
Yeah, you can see rum runners kind of drifting back to the course, so that's definitely causing the yellow flag. Coast Guard is on site holding them off.
And here's a great race for third and fourth with Chuggett and Lake Hapatcong Marine. That's fourth and fifth, rather. This is second and third. The shadow boat is back on the inside of Hartman X Insurance, so...
Yep, went back into second.
Yep, good battle there. And especially considering Team Shadow's not out here a lot, they're handling the whole bracket situation, and at least it would seem, as far as showing the restraint you need to not run faster than your class's limit.
X Insurance coming back around for the finish of lap number 4 of 9 here. It's not quite yet at the halfway point. Eric, a lot going on to put on a race like this.
Oh my gosh.
The United States Coast Guard, hugely important. They take a look at the course map and they issue a permit. They're here in force.
Just a note, Bulletproof just went by, but I don't know if I saw tunnel vision pass our vantage point. That wasn't on camera, but I'm just trying to keep track of the running order for you folks.
And so U.S. Coast Guard, in support of this event, have deployed.
Oh my gosh!
Plenty of
between
boats,
the Coast
men
Guard
and
and the volunteers from the local area.
Yep.
I mean, you have to have a boat at every turn. You have to have patrol boats to make sure that pleasure boats aren't coming onto the course. There's all, and you have the helicopters in the air. I don't know if we have a marine mammal helicopter at this race, but
that's
here,
always a
yep.
giant concern of race organizers and Race World Offshores in specific.
And
Bulletproof.
And here's Bulletproof. This is part of the new team that Wynn Farnsworth is backing.
So 579 is down.
Tunnel vision is down.
Did go down.
Yep. So now Bulletproof Good Cars is up to second place.
Yep. Our second boat in Class 500 to break down here halfway through the race. Tunnel vision. There they are on screen. Tough day for Michael McLaughlin and Robert Bryant.
Attrition's part of it, and a lot of times when it's calm like this, that can actually be harder because you're winding up the engines even more.
Great shot from the X Insurance Helicam, Team Shadow and the Statement Marine.
And that looks like Team Shadow's running a 2-stroke 300.
It does.
The yellow flag has been cleared, so 579, where they are down, they're probably not endangering anything on the course. We can see them, they're not on our screen, but there's a patrol boat pulling up to them, so they're getting taken care of, and good to see that they're all right. It's not the way they wanted their day to go, but no one's hurt so far. And this is Owen and Mr. Harmeyer back out front in their, and there's tunnel vision getting the rope. Sea-Tow is going to get them back to the harbor the slow way, unfortunately.
Again, we'll get back to that race for second.
See, now
and
that
third.
was almost scary there because they Hartman X Insurance almost put themselves inside the buoy line, and then they had to come back out. So they just cost themselves some time there.
Those of you on the live stream, you got to see a great shot of racing to the pen, trying to take the shortest way around the course.
And then Shadow shut the door, which is a legal move. They didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, as we see the Class 500 boat, you can see the difference in speed as they will lap the Class 700 boats. They're not racing together. He's coming around. He stays to the outside and gives way, lets the smaller boats have the inside track. And the way X Insurance is running right now in Class 500, I mean, they just will not be stopped.
That is a rule, too.
Yeah.
When there are multiple boats, multiple classes on the course at the same time, it is in the rule book that the faster boats will go around the outside. So that's just part of what they have to do.
5 laps now in of 9. As we watch Bulletproof now running in second.
And this is
Team Shadow has, about an 8-boat lead now in running in second in Class 700 as they come around for the 4th time of 6. Just a couple laps left for Class 700. You get a great shot.
Yeah, this is Nick passing his son.
down the beach as these boats are running southbound in front of the fans here in Ocean City. Great job from Parker Lindsay riding aboard with his dad Rick and the X Insurance Helicam. There they are, side by side.
Look at this battle for 4th and 5th, and they don't care that it's 4th and 5th.
Chug it in, Lake Hapakong. Knew I was going to stumble on that.
Yep. But that's
I jinxed myself saying I had it.
And Lake Hapakong's getting the inside lane. So that's bragging rights for when they go back home, because they're all from Lake Hapakong right there. So this is the 30-foot Phantom boat built in Sarasota, Florida by a gentleman named Will Smith. And that used to be Team Allen Lawn Care many years ago.
Is that the boat that he won in his, we just saw the Statement Marine team kind of.
The Hartman Statement did a little sideways catch off a wake there a little bit.
Yep, slowed them up, but they're back up on the throttles and back up to speed. Is that the one that he won the World Championship in the production class, I wonder? This one?
I believe so.
Yeah, that was Bill Miller's, Billy's going to kill me. Billy Allen's first World Championship.
And I believe he got that boat from the Twisted Chicks team. When they ran it in Factory 1, I'm not sure, but I'm sure my phone will tell me soon enough.
Yeah. So there's X Insurance, Class 700. The Activator continuing what it's done all year long, which is run out front. They're your National High Points champ, along with their sister ship running in Class 500 in the American Powerboat Association Series with Owen Buis and Ricky Harmeyer. Now back to Pop's boat, Nick Buis of Statement Marine. Nick was part of a World Championship in Super Cat class. He sponsored a boat in 2004. Todd Werner and
yeah, that was the Pro Marine team, right?
That's right, and John Tomlinson were on that boat as they raced a skater to the Key West World Championships in 2004. Nick Buis was Statement Marine. Who will be racing this group, JJ Turk and Nick Buis in their X Insurance partnership will be racing tomorrow in the Mod V class and also leading in the National Series in that boat as well.
And JJ's also a big part of putting on the Thunder on Cocoa Beach race in his hometown. And now it looks like the Orange Crush there, the Lake Hapakong Marine has gotten ahead of Chugget for 4th and 5th in 700 class.
Back on top of your overall leader, X Insurance here in Class 500. The Ocean City Grand Prix from beautiful Ocean City, Maryland. Visit OCOcean.com.
This should end lap 6. Yep, that should be the end of lap 6 for Class 500.
3 laps to go in this first race for Class 500.
Boat's looking smooth. I would imagine Nick has pulled back to just... JJ's very good at turning around and keeping an eye on the boats behind him, too. And you can see now, as this boat comes out of the water, you can see the single step right under the F in Farnsworth. So that is a step design Warlock built, and I think that's like a 2000. So that was a California company, very popular with the high-performance boats out on Havasu and Lake Mead and areas like that. I actually raced a 29-foot Warlock called Wizard of Oz in Key West one year. But I think there were about 30 boats in the class. And this is a Velocity 22-footer. This is the Hartman X Insurance with the 300R Mercury outboard. So
our lead boats will come back through one more time in Class 700. Now 5 laps in of 7 with the Statement Marine X Insurance continuing to lead. Team Shadow in second, and your Hartman X Insurance holding in third.
Fourth place is Lake Hopatcong Marine, the Shadow. And fifth place is the 22 Velocity Chugget.
Bulletproof.
And
Elijah Kingery and Craig Belfato aboard. Glad to have all the race teams that have showed up here. We appreciate all of the teams up and down the classes, from bracketed all the way up to Super Cat, for supporting the Ocean City Grand Prix.
And this is going to be one of those events where after this year, word of mouth is going to help build the fleet for next year for sure, because this is just such a nice venue. You get a couple of guys talking, it's like, you got to go to Ocean City next year. It was so nice. But the boat's riding well. They and you know, Elijah's dad, Bill Kingery, was a factory and 1 and 2 class racer, and he's a big part of that team. Now we see the race again for 4th and 5th in bracket 700. Lake Hopatcong Marine is getting a little bit of a lead on Jackson Chase Muller. We'll see if they.
Oh, big air there by Lake Hopatcong.
But they've got 2 more laps, so anything can happen in another 8 miles, right?
Well, you got to settle that boat down. You can see on screen, if you're watching on the live stream, as they got up in the air twice, and then once kind of
almost
scrubbed a lot of speed.
Yeah,
the 5th place boat was able to make up a bunch of time on them in the Chugget.
And now we're back with the
leaders, Class
the leaders
500.
in Class 500.
Watch X Insurance come around. There'll be 2 laps to go after this one to finish up our first race of the day. Coming up at roughly 2 o'clock, we'll have the factory 450R boats. JJ Turk, Nick Buis, now back to the number 2 boat from above with the X Insurance Helicam. Team Farnsworth, the Bulletproof.
Yep.
There's X Insurance.
That's the end of lap 7.
Finishing lap 7 of 9.
This is kind of like that crank it up part of the NASCAR races. Just let the people hear the engine noise.
And tomorrow, probably, well, certainly the loudest boats out here on the APBA National Series, the Super Vs and the Super Cats, will be out here making a lot of noise.
Yeah,
Mod Vs as well are got a lot. You're gonna hear a lot of inboard power tomorrow, and some with tractor pipes that'll really.
Dirty Money comes to mind. You know, love the sound of that boat.
Team Farnsworth.
And well, the Farnsworth comes out the side.
Does it come out the side?
But the Cortez Fountain.
The Cortez boat has
the tractor pipes.
Tractor pipes in it. The other boat in Super V class. Yeah.
And here we are coming up on the white flag lap. We don't know if they're going to wave a white flag. We're just calling it that because this should be the end of lap 6 for the bracket 700 boats. And running order is pretty much unchanged. Owen and why can't I remember Mr. Harmeyer's first name? Ricky. Yeah. Owen and Ricky are doing a good job defending their line. You know, I'm sure they're turning around and looking back every once in a while to make sure. They even have you can see a small rear view mirror but I don't know how much that's really telling them. Looks like they got a little cowling issue there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Looks like part of it's missing.
Your number 2 boat overall.
Ooh. That looked like Elijah just took a little bit of a hit there. I mean, even though we say it's calm for Ocean City, it's not like it's perfectly flat either. They're still they're still taking some hits.
You're always going to have that rolling swell coming in. Today, it's definitely, it's not building. Certainly, it's running against the wind.
Yep.
Which is coming in from the ocean here today. There's Lake Hapakong.
So everyone is on their final lap for bracket 700.
No changes in the order in Class 700 as Chugga continues to trail back in 5th place. Out for their last lap of the day. Glad to have these young men that come race here at Ocean City.
Now, I wonder how Jax and Chase get along after the race. if the driver is telling the throttle, but why didn't you do this or that? Or
well,
but this is the activator with Owen and Ricky still out front. 22-foot boat that they basically redid, or Owen redid with his dad. Strapped on the tieback suit, did the fiberglass repairs. And here's the Hartman X Insurance. Those who've been watching the racing through the year know that the Hartman boat has the red transom, and the X Insurance statement is the all green and livery that matches the bracket 500 boat. And this is a 22 Velocity, made famous by Steve Stepp. Here's the 30-foot Phantom, X Insurance, TFR, Golf and Gator. And this is going to be the start of their white flag lap as they pass the yellow buoy.
So that'll be one more lap to go for JJ Turk and Nick Buis of Statement Marine and the X Insurance team. Back to the X Insurance Helicam, our number 2 boat overall in Class 700, Team Shadow. You get a real good look down into the cockpit. The driver, he steers the boat. The throttle man, as you can see him pumping the throttles, working the trim.
Kyle Zangle and Lou LaFerrera. That boat's in good shape because those shadows aren't new. They've been around a while.
And our number 2 boat in Class 700. X Insurance with a 27-second lead over the Bulletproof team.
So the next time all these classes come by the yellow start finish, that's going to be the yellow finish buoy. And the Pace boat has the checkered flag ready to wave. It's off your screen right now, but
yep,
this is what they're racing towards.
And here's your leader in Class 700, X Insurance, with Owen and Ricky on board, Statement Marine team.
What were you doing at 15?
I'm not sure I want to say. But I wasn't riding in a boat like that.
I might have been riding in a boat, but it wasn't a cool one like that.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, we were riding it, but we were sneaking rides in my best friend's dad's boat at 10 o'clock at night when he went to bed. But no, it was just, it was a fishing boat.
I was probably fishing.
Thought we were cool.
I was fishing with my dad in a 16-foot MFG with a 40-horse outboard. But this kid's got a bright future. They both.
Oh.
Ricky does too. I mean, Ricky's new to the sport, but he's in the industry, and
Owen,
it's a good team.
Owen is a purist. I mean, it was his passion for powerboat racing. It got his dad to get back into the sport, and we're going to see a lot of Owen Buis in the future. There's, make no mistake.
I don't think
racing is in his blood.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, not at all. And there's some really great young people involved in this sport. We'll talk about that during our broadcast.
I mean, JJ's son, Cameron Turk.
Yes.
Hall of Champions last year with Robert Bryant from the Tunnel Vision team. So, but you can see some damage on the cowling there on their boat. So
and there they are, waving their hands as they take the checkered flag. A little bit of damage, too, to the cowling on the engine. So they must have busted into something. But
Team Shadow finishes in second. So nice
your
job
winner.
by them.
X Insurance takes first.
And
Team
here's
Shadow
third place.
in second.
Third place coming across is Hartman, X Insurance.
Nice finish for Team Shadow. Lou Ferreira.
Ferreira, yeah.
And Kyle Zangle.
And we're just waiting for the, Here's the Lake Hopatcong Marine.
And then Chug It.
Chug It needs to just cross the finish line. There they go. They're coming up right now. And now we get to see the TFR X Insurance Golf and Gator 30-foot Phantom come towards the finish. Another successful outing for JJ Turk and throttleman Nick Buis. And nice comeback for Nick. I mean, he hurt his back pretty hard in Key West last year, racing in the bracket 700 boat with Owen rather. So he took a little time, got things squared away, and good to see him back out here.
Another big day for Turk and Buis and X Insurance in Class 700. All of these results unofficial.
Yep.
Bracketed boats have to turn in their data cards and make sure that they stayed within the bracketed speeds of each of the classes. We'll see some more bracketed class racing tomorrow.
So then we'll probably see if they hand them each a checkered flag, the side-by-side X Insurance checkered flag poses from the Buis family. Last year it was the Turk family in Key West, if you remember. They had the 30-foot Phantom with JJ, and then they had a Nitra from Sweden with Cameron Turk and Robert Bryant. So
some interesting boats in Class 700.
Yeah.
The Super Boat is another.
Long Island staple, the super boats, and there are a lot of performance enthusiasts, especially on websites like Scream and Fly, who want to see a Tough from Canada in the 700 class, because those are fast little outboard boats. They make beautiful boats. So it would be, and yet you have the Activators, you have Progression from Long Island that's been successful in the bracket 700 class, but that gives you an idea the winds are picking up. We're about 14 miles an hour now.
Yeah, out of the west-northwest, still coming from the shore, and that's good. That bodes well for the rest of the day.
So Owen has his flag. Now let's see if they've got one for Dad.
I think it took a drink.
Uh-oh, did they try to throw it?
They did.
Oops.
He was coming by under quite a bit of speed, and I think it might have. Yeah, it's in the water, I think.
Oops.
It's in the. I can see it. Yep, they're backing down on it right now.
Yeah, I made a mistake years ago of not stowing my bow cover on my boat, and I just went out for a quick run because I was testing a prop. The next thing I know, my bow cover's in Sebago Lake, and it was gone in seconds.
As they fish the checkered flag for Class 500 out.
Yeah, it'll dry.
The Atlantic Ocean.
It'll dry in those breezes as they hold it up heading in.
Hey, this is the first race that Race World Offshore has produced that is on the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
Key West is kind of.
Well, it's the Florida Straits,
we
call it.
Yep.
So the Florida Straits, and certainly Marathon is the Gulf of Mexico. So, yeah.
Oh, come on, you got to get it closer than that, guys. Docking.
Oh, there's one more time. Good catch.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess
waving the checkered flag.
I guess race boats aren't set up real well to go slow.
They're not. No.
And there we go. We're going to see the X Insurance team. And somehow I bet we see a helicopter over them fairly soon with the same colors on it to get a nice shot of the two boats running in together.
There they are. The X Insurance Helicam, their sponsored boats. X Insurance Class 700 and X Insurance Class 500. Winners today here at the Ocean City Grand Prix.
I wonder if Nick has seen that cowling yet. Since he's the guy writing the checks. They're not going to warranty that at Mercury Racing. That's a great shot. You got a family involved in the sport. They have some success. It keeps them in it.
Well, a beautiful day here in Ocean City, Maryland for the American Powerboat Association National Series. Double points race here in Ocean City. And we'll be back to racing in the next 20 to 30 minutes. Scheduled start 2 o'clock for the factory 450R boats. Tomorrow, racing gets underway at noon with the Mod Vs. We have a good fleet of boats here in Mod V that will race. Then at 2, back to V-bottoms, our Super Vs, canopied super boats, so to speak, big engines, a lot of speed, and they'll team up with the other bracketed boats that are left. 2, 3, 4 will be the final of the bracketed boats that'll run. That's at 1:30, and then we'll finish up at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon with the Super Cats. And we have pretty much the full fleet except for maybe one boat left in Super Cat that are here in Ocean City to race tomorrow afternoon to wrap up the Ocean City Grand Prix as we watch your Class 500 and Class 700 winners from X Insurance head back to the pits. And again, it's important.
I think they're doing a little bit of a victory lap
Are they doing
first,
a victory lap?
because they're going the opposite direction of the pits.
Yep, you're right. They are heading up the beach.
Hope they have enough gas.
Yeah. We have to, again, qualify all of this, especially not just in bracketed class, but especially in bracketed class. You got to get inspected when they come back to the pits. They've got to have their data cards read. They make sure they didn't break out any speeds. In all the classes, they've got to make sure that all the rules were followed. They all have data cards that will tell their RPMs and their speeds and make sure they stay within the inspection guidelines in order to have an official win.
And when Nick and Owen would race together, Owen throttled, and Nick was like, "I can't believe this kid's restraint. He's so calm in the boat." But you would think a 15-year-old would have the tough time holding it back from going faster than 60 miles an hour. But Nick just said he's kind of like a young soul a little bit, an old soul and a young kid. And very, very disciplined.
Eric, we got some new boats that are actually here to race in the national classes tomorrow, and one of them that's coming up at 2 o'clock is not a new boat per se, but it's a new boat on this year's series. It's the old 96 Doug Wright boat, the red boat that raced last year. It's back and it's racing, but it's got a new driver, someone who's never
a new driver and throttleman.
Yeah, but he's never throttled factory 450R either.
No, it's the guys from the DeFalco Class 1 boat.
That's right.
Driver Mike Falco and throttleman Billy Moore will be running the 450R Doug Wright red and black, basically red boat with the black top that ran all last season. But it's a fast boat, and they're seasoned competitors, so it should be interesting to see how they adapt.
Yeah, and so they're here, and I was very excited to see that Kyle Miller had his Speed Marine boat.
Yeah,
here. And
yeah, that's a cool thing because it's built maybe 2 hours from here at Lilly Sport Boats. It's an extreme hull built by Brett Lilly. Speed Marine builds their own engines, and they worked hard to get it to their home race to support the event, and it should be a fast boat. I'm looking forward to seeing it run.
Kyle Miller and his partner Jay Woltman, they're no rookies to Mod V racing. They've teamed up running Britt Lilly's boats over the years, and this is one of those 3 boats that Britt Lilly was working on last year, and they finally came out, and in the off season they're ready to hit the water. It's 151 Express is the other one, and
North Myrtle Beach RV. Mark Rinda has been posting a lot of updates. North Myrtle Beach is getting very close to being ready to hit the water too.
Yeah, and but this is the first of those new extreme holes builds to get onto the water.
Yeah.
We'll see them tomorrow race at that 12 noon start in Mod V.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. I think it's still good because the Safe Cash X Insurance boat that runs in that class is a 32-foot Phantom, and it's the old Mr. Technology that Will Smith ran. So it's good to see it not all being one brand or the other. It's good to see the competition building between the two brands.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I love the competition between engine builders. I love the competition between hulls, and the more we see of that, the better. Coming up, we're going to talk to Tom Perlozzo of Ocean City Tourism. He's going to join us here in a moment. Eric, we're going to talk to you more this afternoon. We got racing coming up very shortly, the Factory 450Rs, and it should be an exciting afternoon.
I think so. Weather's going to hold. It looks like I'm looking forward to seeing them race.
All right, very good. So let's get Tom on the Race World Offshore live stream for the Ocean City Grand Prix here at Race World Offshore's YouTube channel and also at Race World Offshore's Facebook page. Also want to welcome all of our live local listeners down on the beach and out on the water at RadioOceanCity.com. Beach Vibes 24/7, Radio Ocean City. Tom, how are you?
I am good. How about yourself?
Great to see you.
Great seeing you.
Man, I'll tell you what, and when John Powell's going to join us, part of our live stream crew. As I mentioned, John spent over 20 years raising a family and working here in Ocean City. I used to come visit him a lot. This is my first occasion to be here, and what an amazing sight it is to look down on the beaches here at Ocean City. It's a spectacular, fun town to come vacation in.
Absolutely. We've got it going on. This is a tourism day. It's a beautiful day, 80-plus degrees. The beach is filled up, and, I know this guy. I've known this guy for a long time.
Oh, yeah. We've known each other for a long time. Tom's worked on and off for the town of Ocean City for, how long? About 30, 40 years?
30 years at least, yeah.
Yeah, so you've been in a lot of different capacities. What's your title now? Because I know you were with the golf and then Parks and Rec. And
I kind of progressed a little bit. I went to, I was at Recreation and Parks, and then I moved to Golf Magazine, Sports Illustrated. Got lucky enough to come back here as the Director of Tourism and Business Development. So my job, I get to spend the marketing dollars, bring events like this into town, and watch all those guests out there enjoying our beautiful beach pretty much all summer long.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for the great job that the town itself does, you wouldn't have any money to spend, and you wouldn't have anything to spend it on. So everything goes hand in hand, and I can't tell you how tickled the people at Race World Offshore are with the cooperation they've gotten from the town of Ocean City. This morning, and one of the race directors said, if you want a good example of how a town should be sponsoring and putting together a race, look at Ocean City for the example, because they're doing everything right.
Well, that's great news. We've got a really good team in our special events. Frank Miller, and we are looking to bring quality people like Race World Offshore. We're really happy with the race and the event itself. Quality company goes right along with what we're trying to do here. We're creating experiences out there, bringing people back to the beach, and the powerboat races have been absent for a long time, and it's great to bring a first-class company in here and show people what's going on out on the water. So
yeah, the racing is exciting, but Ocean City is known as a good family destination. A lot of people don't realize that powerboat racing is a family sport. We've got people out here that their families have been in racing for 40, 50 years, and it just gets passed down, and they all bring their families with them. And we're hearing a lot of good response out of the racers too, because their kids are having a good time, their wives are having a good time, and they're having a good time because they're out there doing what they like to do.
Yeah, I mean, Ocean City has everything, as you mentioned, the family, the beautiful beach, the amazing beaches, the cleanest beaches I've seen anywhere. You have the boardwalk, the amusements. So there's adult fun to have as well, great restaurants, and it's the whole package, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's Ocean City. We have tried to really, improve our product up and down the beach. The beach is always cleaned by Public Works every night. So when you come out to the beach and your first experiences, you've got to clean. And the best part about our beach is it's safe. We've got a stellar beach patrol that sits out there, 153 men and women that manage every day the beach. So if you're out in the sand, make sure you swim near a lifeguard. And then, what we do in town are bring events like this. Every Sunday we have a great event up at Northside Park. It's called Sundays in the Park. We do, OC dance parties down on the boardwalk. We got some big events coming in the fall. We have Oceans Calling, a great concert, and a country calling event. 55,000 tickets per day were sold right here on the beach. So, from cruising to whatever, we have a good time, and it is a family resort. We've been known for that for many years, and we want to continue to build on that legacy as we move forward here in 2024.
Of course, you're near a lot of high population cities, so you're drawing people here from Washington, D.C., Baltimore, from the Philadelphia area. And one thing that they get here in Ocean City is the culinary experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some great food here. And of course, Baltimore known for the entire Chesapeake area known for crabs. You get any type of seafood you could imagine, but it goes all the way to pit beef and quality steaks. The restaurants here are amazing.
Yeah, there's just a wide variety of opportunities, but crabs, that's our staple. We're known for crabs and, with fresh seafood. If you go out to where at the harbor in West Ocean City, there are a lot of boats that come in, and you can buy fresh seafood right off the boat. Rockfish, flounder, scallops.
Yep.
It is, it's kind of the best known secret from the locals. I get a text message, the scallop boat's in, they're going to sell you, 8 pounds of scallops. You freeze them and do what you have to do. But, the culinary opportunities from everything you can imagine. I've got great buddies that have Italian restaurants that are just, top of the line, and everything up and down the beach. I will tell you, you can get what you want here. Well,
from coming up here visiting John so many years, we're driving in and he spotted a crab boat coming in with, he said that guy must have had 8 bushels of crabs. And we used to love to come up here, catch crabs, eat crabs. It's all about the experience.
For sure. I've known John for a while, as I mentioned, and the last time I saw him, he and I were playing softball against one another. Yeah. I don't know what we're doing anymore, but I kind of retired from softball, just picked up golf, and I'm too old to go out there and swing it around. But he's got a great lineage. His father. I loved him growing up and still do. But it's great to see you all back in town and enjoying yourself. And I know John. He spent many years on the boardwalk. He could probably tell me everything I need to know what's going on downtown and how to get around.
No doubt. Tom, if people want to find out more about Ocean City and maybe pick it as a tourist destination, how can they do that? I think the best thing to do is go on our website, ococean.com, and you can get everything you need. You can book your hotel room directly. We've got, every hotel in town is listed on the website. It's just like calling the hotel direct. You can see all the events that are coming in town. You can see all the restaurants that are around. The best, you can get gather all your information and then, make a smart decision and come to Ocean City. Yeah, OC Ocean is a great resource. When I had my business here, I would refer to that if I didn't know what was going on. It's That's like, right. Now, what do we got coming up this weekend? Let's go to OC Ocean, check it out, and plan our weekend accordingly. And we know whether it's going to be a heavy traffic weekend or it's going to be a big beach weekend or something like that. They'll always tell you what's going on, where it's happening at OC Ocean. It's really a good resource. Yeah, and as John said earlier, I'll echo it. The race teams are very impressed with the support of the city of Ocean City. You put together an amazing official program. I've seen these things around town. It's a color program, pictures of the boats, just fantastic shots. Really great. Great to be here in Ocean City. Thanks for having us from Race World Offshore and the APBA Series here for the Ocean City Grand Prix. Thanks, Tom. No, thank you very much. And we'll look forward to the next couple of days and next year. Absolutely. Tom Perlazzo, the Ocean City Director of Tourism, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Good luck the rest of the day. Thanks. Appreciate it. Dub, the weather it's holding up, looking good, isn't it?
Yeah, it can flip in a heartbeat here in Ocean City. I mean, we've had years where a day like today, and then we have a race tomorrow, and you wake up and it's foggy and blowing 50 miles an hour, and just not great. But we got lucky. We got Chamber of Commerce weather. This is perfect Ocean City stuff here. The winds are light. There's going to be a little bit of a current issue when you get down closer to the inlet, but other than that, it's green and go. The weather's perfect.
Yeah, when you got the wind coming off the shore the way it is, this is exactly kind of wind that we'd want for a powerboat race.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a constant ground swell coming in here, but they're 7-8 second waves apart, and these guys can judge that, so they shouldn't be having a problem with it at all.
All right, hey John, appreciate it. We'll be talking to you a little bit later on here as we continue on with the Ocean City Grand Prix coming up. The factory 450R boats will be racing with us, and one of the teams in that class is Gladiator Canados, Michel Carcente, who's raced all over the world. He's raced XCat, he's won a couple of big Super V World Championships in the day in the Rodriguez group back in, I think, 2004, 2005. He'll be racing along with 4 Doug Wright boats in the factory 450R class, and we caught up with him down in the pits yesterday. Michel Carcente joins us, racing in factory 450R in Gladiator Canados. Made the trip to Ocean City, double points race, and a lot of Doug Wrights here. It's going to be all Doug Wrights 38 catamarans to run against.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So we're going to be able to see who makes the difference, the driver or the machine.
These Doug Wright boats, you told me, were very well made. You were very impressed with them. That when you came back to the United States to race from overseas, you thought about Supercat racing, but that when you saw what was going on in this class with the 4-stroke 450R engines and the way these big wide-body catamarans are being made, the Doug Wright really just fit the bill for you.
They're very fun to run. They're very delicate, very sharp. So it's always very fun to run these boats. And not only that, I mean, the way they're built, the Doug Wright can handle the rough water, and it turns like no other cat. You can turn that boat at 115 miles an hour. It's unbelievable. No other cat can do that.
What are you expecting here in Ocean City? They're saying a little bit of a rougher race, actually favorable conditions because the winds, although they're up at 20, will be coming off the shore. And typically, though, you got a rolling sea out here. Are you expecting some rough conditions?
Yeah, well, the forecast is 3 to 4s. 3 to 4s, it's not parallel to the coast. The swell is coming from the southwest, and the wind is blowing from southeast, and the wind is blowing from the west. So we might see some holes there. It's going to be challenging.
What is the thought of the setup of the boat the morning? What are the things that you need to really put together to make those final decisions about setting the boat up?
Well, we'll see the engine heights. We'll probably decide the props last minute depending on how rough it's going to be, and the weight distribution. So we're probably going to move the lead bags at the last minute.
The 450R class talking about going to 500 engines next year. Is that something that the class owners are still thinking about, and do you think that's a wise move?
Well, I think if it does not come with a weight penalty, because these boats are light, 6,500 pounds, with the 500s, these boats are going to they're going to be really fast, almost as fast as a Supercat with twin outboards and reliable. So that's going to be a really challenging class next year.
Well, another Doug Wright racing out here on the water with you this weekend. You said that Doug Wright has another one that's coming out of the factory by the end of the year. It could be just as many Doug Wrights as MTIs.
I think there will be more Doug Wrights because we should be 5 in Key West. The MTIs are 4, and I see some new boats coming also for the next season.
Well, it's a fun class, and looks like it's just only going up moving forward, so it's going to be exciting.
Well, the problem of this sport is the cost associated to it. And you want to go Supercat, it costs so much money. You see teams going and leaving because it costs too much money. This, a normal guy with a reasonable sponsor, can run a good season.
Look forward to seeing you out there on the water once again in Gladiator Canados.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Michelle Carcente there, Gladiator Canados. They'll be racing here coming up in our next race of the day. Eric Colby of Speed on the Water joins us once again. Eric, these are exciting boats. The factory 450R boats. We're waiting for them to come out of the wet pits and race here on the Ocean City Grand Prix. These are 40-foot catamarans that have very wide tunnels. They're very wide catamarans, and they run the twin 450R four-stroke engines from Mercury Racing.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing when you think about it is for these boats is the power to weight ratio is amazing, because it wasn't long ago that you were running twin thousands in a 40-foot cat, and not going a whole lot faster than these boats are going. So, I mean, I believe these boats, what do they get up to? Around 120, correct?
Yeah, they touch 120.
Yeah, but they handle. I mean, they drive them through the turns, and they'll just grab it and go. And the one thing that's been interesting to me is, we should recognize the fact that the MTIs are not here because of Taylor Sissom, the vice president MTI, and kind of a pioneer in the class. She had the first race boat, got married not too long ago, and they're having a celebration of her marriage out in Lake of the Ozarks this weekend. The two dates just happened to clash. But so you're going to see a Doug Wright fleet here, but it's an interesting fleet of boats. We've got some new cockpit teamings that are going to be fun watching. Gary Ballou is now taking over the throttles of the Montlick Injury Attorney's boat with driver Logan Adon. And I think that we watched them test this morning. The boat looked good. I don't think Gary's going to slow down by any stretch of the imagination. And the same thing that we talked about before we went off the air in the first race with Billy Moore and Mike Falco. Their Class 1 DeFalco throttleman and driver getting into the red and black number 38 Doug Wright powerboat. Is that a 38 or what's the difference?
It's a 30. Yeah, they're all 38s.
Well, I meant the number. I don't know.
Oh, the number on it?
Yeah,
is
I don't have it on my entry sheet. So.
Yeah, 18.
Oh, he's number 18.
Yeah,
okay.
Number 18. Just a sidebar on what you were just talking about. Of course, congratulations in order to the Sissoms, and Taylor is a leader in the Factory 450R class. We were talking earlier about Owen, Dalton, the young
Cameron Turk, and
all the young faces that are all through powerboat racing, and it's great to see these young faces. It's what the sport needs. It's the next, the super the next generation. I mean, really starting young. In Factory 450R has, Taylor Sissom is a young woman who was
Caleb Mead. I think he's 17, 18.
Yep.
Logan's 19.
Logan Adon, the driver of the Montlick Injuries Attorneys team, 19. And
the first time I interviewed Logan, he was in the hauler, after a race, and he comes out and he's munching on an Uncrustables, those kids' snacks. And I was just waiting for a juice box, but it was. Yeah. But he's such a good kid. I mean, he's who he is. He knows he's comfortable in his own skin. He's a good driver because he's driven dirt cars and knows how to slide a car around a race course.
I'd be remiss not to mention Julia Maldonado, who's the reigning Superstock world champion in the jackhammer.
Ricardo
and his brother as well. But they are just rock solid. They don't really seem to.
Connor Langheim.
Connor Langheim. No, they just don't understand fear. And you talk to some of the vets that run with them, and they tell you they're absolutely amazing. We all know young people learn quickly, but imagine learning quickly at 120 miles an hour or going into a turn.
Well, consider the indoctrination that Connor had to the Superstock class when the boat he was testing with John Strama, JS Racing, went over in testing in Marathon. They blew it over. Yep. So then he had to get the confidence and get back in the boat, and he's been racing the last couple of races, and they're improving.
Yeah, so it's really amazing. And again, we're seeing a new boat in factory 450R. It's a boat that ran last year, and it's with a veteran crew that run together in Class 1. It's the Doug Wright DeFalco with Mike Falco and Billy Moore. They'll be running along with Hank Saloon, Motley Injury Attorneys, and Gladiator Cathos.
And speaking of a new driver in Hank Saloon,
Yes.
Kobe Harrison, who Scott Porte of Porte Products put a nice little kind of tribute post to Kobe up on Facebook this morning. So another enthusiastic guy who works in the industry has worked his way up running a rental business and is now driving a race boat.
Well, we're also excited to see a new boat tomorrow, and that's in the Mod V class. And we have been waiting for the three boats that were built out of LSB Powerboats in Arnold, Maryland by Britt Lilly to get out on the water. He had the three. One was 151 Express and North Myrtle Beach. The other, we expect those two boats to be out on the Mod V National Series real soon. But tomorrow, we will see the debut of the Speed Marine team with Kyle Miller and Jay Waltman. I caught up with both of them in the pits yesterday to get a lowdown on what's happening with this bad-looking boat. It's got an amazing paint job, and it hits the water tomorrow here in Ocean City, Maryland. Hey, Kyle Miller and Jay Waltman join us from the new Speed Marine 29 Extreme. It's been quite a journey to get this boat to debut on the American Powerboat Association National Series, but here it is, and it will be racing in the Mod V class. Both these guys raced with the Britt Lilly's boat last year, good buds, but this is one of those three brand new builds that were coming out of LSB Powerboats in the last year. This will be the first one to hit the water. A lot of work that has gone into bringing this boat here and debuting it on the water for the Ocean City Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't just us. I mean, it was really everybody in our team and learning through all of it. You know, Britt started this, and this is the first boat that he built. We were the first ones to commit to him, get in the contract, get this thing going. It took a little bit of time, but it was a learning curve for all of us through. So pretty much as this one was getting built, he's out racing, hole number one, He's out racing hole number one, figuring it out. And all of that data that he picked up went into this and went into all the other boats. So what's really good about him with it is he's not going to build himself a winner, and now he sold the boat and he's out of the class, but I'm sure he'll be back. He gives us all the information we need to get in the front. So, building this from literally raw materials, it's so much work to really get this together. And I think without the help from him and, me and Jay racing together for so many years and all the knowledge that we've occurred, and there was a lot to it. There's a real lot to it.
Jay, this has got to be an exciting moment for you to finally break out and get out to run this thing now that you put so much work into it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's been years of getting ready for this. I mean, just what we've done with the motor. We have our own dyno, and we spent a year and a half just coming up with a combo that would work into this class, and we're still not 100% there. It's going to take more time and stuff, but we're happy where we're at and see where it goes from here.
The seats are pretty amazing. It sounds to me like you've engineered something that is quite unique.
Yeah, so pretty much what it is, it's a full containment seat. They're made out of aluminum, and they're custom fitted to each occupant. So Jay's seat is different than my seat because I'm substantially larger than he is. The shock mechanism that we came up with, it's pretty much like a three-way adjustable shock. So if you go into a comm race and the seat's moving up and down, there's actually an adjustment that you can reach and grab and tighten it up. Rough race, you could tighten it up. Comm race, you could loosen it, whatever. But it's there. There's no moving parts in it. There's no wheels. There's no linear rail system. There's no nothing in it. So it's proprietary. We came up with it at our shop, and I guess we're going to put it to the test this weekend, right, Jay?
Yeah, well, you're working on North Myrtle Beach will be out soon as well, which was the second one in queue after you guys for LSB to put out new boats.
Yeah, so we did a lot of stuff on that boat also. Did a lot of the motor mounts and the exhaust work, the seating, steering, a lot of steering stuff on that thing. And now they have it at their shop. They're doing the wiring and the last little touches. They also build their own motor, so they're getting ready. And they should be out within the next race or two. And then we'll start seeing more and more of these new ones coming out. And then the next one is going to be 151 Express to see out.
It's going to be pretty. You're going to have half a dozen extreme boats or more out there racing at one time. It's going to be a grouping, I would imagine, of pretty tough racing.
So it's funny that you say that, because when we first got this boat, there was a little bit of controversy from a comment that I made. And it was, I believe this was, so don't hold me to it. Why drive a Miata when you could drive a Ferrari? Was that what it was, Jay? And I have to tell you, but after racing Britt's boat in Cocoa and Sarasota last year, I mean, you're not getting a better product than this. I mean, it is as good as it gets. So with his hull and, you know, all of our products we put in it, all the engineering and all the time and blood, sweat, and tears, I really think we got a real top runner competitor here. So
It may be a rookie boat, but neither of you two are rookies. You've been in these boats. You've been in races before.
Yes, you know, we've ran stock V for years. We start off in bracket racing, you know, years before that, and then last year we filled in Britt's boat, and we all took turns and
won 2 races in a row.
2 races in a row, and went to Key West. You know, we broke the first day, Britt and I, but you know, come was that Friday and Sunday, we won both days back to back. It just, you know, a stupid out drive took us out of winning the world championship.
Guys, good luck out there. Great catching up with you. Look forward to seeing the Speed Marine boat out there, Kyle.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
Jay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kyle Miller. I don't know where the R keeps coming from, popping into my head. Kyle Miller and Jay Woltman. Amazing looking boat. What a job, huh? They've done with that. And coming back out of Britt Lidley's shop to hit the water tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say it's fairly easy to confuse Kyle Miller and Tyler Miller.
Yeah, you know, that must be where it comes from.
Because there was also Kyler Talbot, rest his soul.
Yes. Must be where it comes from.
Yeah.
The worst
we
one
say
is
Tyler Miller quite a bit. So.
We do. That must be it. The worst one, though, that I can't understand is why I want to call Billy Allen Billy Miller. It's just... And one of my favorite guys, Billy Allen. Love you, buddy.
You're on your own with that one.
Yeah, well, there's so much in this head. I think Scott Porte told me once, if you ever fell over and busted it open, I don't think we can get all the info back in it. So, almost 40 years of calling powerboat racing.
I'm still trying to figure out what kind of boat that is, that Pace boat.
Yeah, the Pace boat is coming out. As you saw, the factory 450R boats are heading to the mill area, and as we get ready to race again, we'll take a look at the
Pace
course.
boat runs along the straightaway just to kind of clear the course, clear the way for the race boats once they get them started. Same procedure as last time. The boats will mill up at the northern end of the course. Then when the orange smoke, they see that, it tells them, get lined up, we're getting ready to go. The Pace boat will drive along. They'll be faster with these boats than it was with the bracket boats to get them on plane and keep them running. And then when the official thinks things look good, orange will turn to green and we go racing for 13 laps on the 4-mile course.
You're listening to the live stream, Race World Offshore, the Ocean City Grand Prix at Race World Offshore's YouTube channel and at Race World Offshore's Facebook page, which is brought to you by Maximum Inflation. Stay safe and prepared on the water with Leland Management's Maximum Inflation CO2 cartridges, trusted by the U.S. military, NASA, and the U.S. Coast Guard. Find these reliable rearming kits at West Marine, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, and local marine stores. And you're listening live here on the beaches and the water in Ocean City on Radio Ocean City at radiooceancity.com. So a look back at the course here. It's a 4-mile course. up and down the beach in Ocean City, as the boats will mill out there by turn 2, and then they will run down in front of the fans here on the beach, down to the start-finish line. The finish mark, the yellow buoy that we are sitting right across from at the Quality Inn Penthouse. That's where we're broadcasting from, above the coastal salt here, which is right on 16th Street, if you know locally. So the boats will run counterclockwise, and the official start of the races in lap counting will be when they pass by the start-finish line. 2-pin turns around turn 1. So 2 pins on the west side, and then on the east side, and then the same on the north side of the course when they head down to turn number 2.
They have gotten the orange smoke. It has been lit.
So we should have racing to get started here just shortly. Factory 450R. Let's get to the lineup of today's race. We have 4 boats running. They're all Doug Wrights. These again are 40-foot catamarans in class. And there's your lineup for today's race.
Number 18, Doug Wright DeFalco, is on the pole with Billy Moore and Mike Falco. Hank Saloon is with Kobe Harrison from Daytona Beach on driving his first race. Edwin Shear is on the throttles. Montlick Injury Attorneys, Gary Ballou is on the throttles. The driver is Logan Adan. And Gladiator Canados with owner Michelle Carcenti on the throttles of France, and Urban Grant is on the wheel.
So the Doug Wrights are 38-foot catamarans. All of these boats are powered by 450R Mercury racing engines. These boats weigh 6,500 pounds. They have a 72-inch tunnel, the widest tunnel of any boat, any catamaran in APBA racing. Their tunnels are even bigger than the Supercat you'll see tomorrow.
And when we refer to a tunnel, that is the area in between the 2 hulls on a catamaran underneath the deck.
Yeah, the wing between the 2 tunnels. They pack the air down the tunnel. It compresses the air. It lifts the boat out of the water. The key to getting these boats fast, I mean, water is 800 times denser than air. You've got to get them up and out of the water, but you got to make them stick to the water because you don't want them to fly like an airplane wing.
Okay, if we could hold this shot, we got a green flag. Let's see who jumps out to a lead.
So we're looking over top from the X Insurance Helicam, the start of Factory 450R here today.
Montlick Attorneys in lane 3 is out to an early start, but so is Hank Saloon. And here comes Billy Moore and Mike Falco on the inside. They should have the advantage, having the shortest way around the course.
These boats are running 13 laps here today.
And this is a 4-mile course, and they're running counterclockwise. So let's see how turn 1 shakes out. They're going to be coming past us. Any second, you'll see them come on in the camera view. What a good race we have starting off here.
Yep.
Oh, whoa. Over goes Gladiator right in front of us. Gladiator Canados got loose, and they came out right side up, which is a good sign. But there's some debris in the water, so that's probably going to give us a red flag right from the beginning.
I would imagine so.
Looked like they just got a little bit loose off of a roller.
This is that ocean swell incoming that you have to deal with here.
And they were in the outermost lane, the closest to the beach. So they could have had the worst of the swell as it was getting towards shore. But the main thing we want to see is we want to see them come out of that cockpit and be all right.
So right now
if we could get the camera back on the start-finish line.
Yeah, I'm seeing a red flag on one boat.
Yep.
We're going to have divers in the water. We're definitely no, maybe we did not. The diver's getting back in the chopper.
They've emerged from the cockpit. They're going to have to get some of the debris out of the water. I don't know how much of the starboard engine they lost.
Well, right now we're indicating that we're still running.
We're in a yellow. We're not in a red. So that means you still race. So
I did see a red flag hanging off a boat on the far side of the course initially. We'll go back and looks like everybody's okay. Took a hard hit there. Urban Grant, Michelle Carcente. The Montlick looks like it's running off speed.
Well, you also don't know what they're getting from their land-based communications. Whether they think that there was a red flag, but we're only seeing yellow on the screen, so we're only seeing what you folks are seeing at home. But a yellow would mean you keep going, you just operate cautiously.
we
And
see it.
this is Billy Moore and Mike Falco out
They-
in the lead.
They look like they're running at power.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll have to see how it shakes out. We're not
Yeah.
going to speculate too much, but
yeah, our producers are listening to comms, so we don't see a yellow flag. We don't see a red flag on that boat. So I assume we are still racing.
now I would imagine you're seeing right now. You're seeing the Doug Wright DeFalco on the screen. When they come past, they are taking the turn now at the north end of the course. When they come past here, because the Siebes tow boat has the Gladiator Canados secured, and they're just going to try to get it to the inside of the course so this race can continue. But Hank's Saloon is already down on power. They're running very slow on the north end. And here the X-Insurance helicopter is showing us the Doug Wright DeFalco boat. So right now they're running well. Oh, now we have a red flag.
Yeah, red flag has come out. I had to expect that. They'll have to have a restart here on this race once they can make sure all of the debris is cleared from the water. I mean, and that Gladiator.
Yep, they're going to do a restart.
Yeah,
JW
Gladiator
just told us.
Canados gets towed out of the area safely. Honestly, I don't see the starboard side engine. Do you?
No, I don't. And
The starboard
you
side.
saw it kind of start to pick up just as it entered our vantage point. The boat got kind of light and loose, and then when it came down, I wonder if it came down on that starboard side and it kind of pulled it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But lots of speculation at this point. The
And
main thing is there's two guys sitting or standing on the boat looking like they're at least okay. The canopy did its job, and Troy Hannon at Supreme Marine, who rigged the boat, is going to have some work to do to get it ready for the next time they go out and race.
Boat rolled up on its side and then made an impact with an incoming wave and just went over.
I was
right in front of the
expecting
fans.
I was expecting it to be upside down at the end.
Yeah.
I was surprised, relieved that it ended up upside, right side up, which is always preferred. But now you've got, cowl's gone. That motor, even the motor that's still on there is probably going to have to be pickled because of the salt water, and you don't know how much salt water got inside the back of the boat to mess with the electronics. So tough day for them. Beautiful boat. It was a good start. But Michelle's a veteran. I don't think this is going to faze him too much.
It's unfortunately part of racing, and these boats, it's a delicate balance to drive them. It's why you have a driver and a throttle man. Driver concentrating on steering and the throttle and controlling the power and the trim, the angle of the boat. We had a nice start going there before Gladiator Canados.
I don't think there was any kind of infringement or lane violation or anything like that. I don't think anyone got in front of anybody else. It happened. It's a race. As the other guys like to say in the other motorsports, it was a racing incident.
Gladiator Canados out of this race and causing a red flag here in Ocean City, Maryland on the first day of the APBA national race here, the Ocean City Grand Prix.
So we didn't even complete lap 1, right?
No, we never even really got, right, we never got started with the official count of laps here.
So I'm wondering if they're standing by for the restart, but I'm wondering if it's still going to be 13 laps because how much fuel did they account for?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even have a lap.
Right. We had the start of what would
Correct.
be lap 1.
So the boats will have to go back with the exact same starting procedure, mill around 2.
I'm just surprised that motor's gone. I don't know if there's a lower unit there or not, if just the power head got tore out, but it doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it's dragging anything, that's for sure. Hazards of racing here today. in the factory 450R class. It's confirmed from race control that
the motor
they
is
have
gone.
lost the motor. They will go and recover that, salvage that, of course.
Yeah, you don't want to
after
leave
the
it out
race.
there with all the
No.
fluids in it and everything.
No, it's
because 4-strokes have oil in them.
So the boat being towed off the course, and we'll have a restart here momentarily. An unexpected mishap at the beginning of our factory 450R race here in Ocean City, Maryland. Live coverage at Race World Offshore's Facebook page and the YouTube channel, brought to you by Maximum Inflation. Also live locally here at RadioOceanCity.com. It's been...
Yeah, they did just say that they marked the motor with GPS for
Good.
salvage later. I would imagine they'll have to wait till this race is done to try to go retrieve it.
We'd also like to thank Bull on the Beach for helping sponsor the Ocean City Grand Prix, open pit beef, hand-cut steaks, and raw bar. Also the Hilton Garden Inn, oceanfront, private balconies, and indoor pool. And by Racing Communications, IndyCar, NASCAR, two-way communication solutions.
And you say that, there's something for everyone down here?
Yes.
I was walking down and driving down to the meeting this morning. I passed a hotel that says it has an indoor ice rink.
Oh, yeah?
I was like, really?
Hey, something for everyone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I know there's a bunch of sports tournaments going on in the area as well. I saw lacrosse teams when I was coming in, and talk about a nice venue for a sports tournament instead of some dusty sports complex in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yep. So with a break in the action, we are expecting the 450R boats to queue back up and
Yeah,
get
they're
into
back up in the milling area.
Yeah, they're
so-
back up in the milling area, and we'll have racing again just here momentarily as we continue on at the Ocean City Grand Prix.
Yeah, we weren't able to give you the lanes in the last race, but the DeFalco boat had lane 1, and number 39 is Hanks, right? Hanks was lane
Saloon.
2.
Right.
Yep, and then Montlick was lane 3.
Was
so
lane
that's how
3.
they will line up.
Yeah,
again.
and Gladiator Canada's had the
Had the
outside.
outside. And then the
And when
rules are when you get to lane 1, you hold your lane. And then after that, if you can establish overlap, you can move to other lanes.
Yeah, when you go back and watch that, you will notice how absolutely close Gladiator Canada was to the beach. It's how close, as
Yeah.
a spectator down on the beach, you get to see these boats. And important to note, Eric, that's generally not the case on beach races. This is one of the closest vantage points that I've ever seen at a national race for the fans that are down on the beach, how close the boats are racing to shore.
I mean, I've been to Palm Beach a couple times, and that was pretty close, but not as close as this, because I remember the morning of the race when I was down there, and a bunch of us were standing on the shore, and all of a sudden this guy comes into the surf break in a 22 Scarab and gets caught broadside to the waves, and the boat flips over, he gets tossed out, and the next thing I know, Gary Ballew's running down the beach. He jumps in the water and goes and hauls the guy out.
Right now, race officials telling us they're waiting on Angel 1 to get back situated. You know, one cool thing that we heard from Sean Steinert, the Director of Medical and Safety here, and by the way, that's one of the huge things that you don't see going on, that you saw them deployed just now on screen. If you were watching the live stream, and if you're down on the beach, you saw the chopper come forward. The safety boats have divers on them as well. There's a 15-man crew of professional firemen,
divers, EMTs, yep.
right? Former Navy military personnel that the man, Sean Steinert and J.R. Anderson's crew that are here. And one thing that was super cool that Sean told us at the drivers' meeting, the cooperation from the United States Coast Guard is always fabulous, but here in Ocean City, the United States Coast Guard approved a landing zone for the safety chopper, where if a diver had to deploy, it's close here to the course. The chopper doesn't have to go fly off somewhere far away. And the U.S. Coast Guard was was instrumental in giving them that LZ, the landing zone.
Yeah, because I mean, the guy that you saw in the footage, the diver who almost deployed.
That's right.
But he wasn't being like cold-hearted or something and saying, "Oh, I'm not going to help them." It was determined by a coordinated effort that the guys were okay and they could use a diver from a boat rather than having to drop one from the helicopter. So it just logistically it worked. It worked out. But that was all communicated and coordinated. And these guys, the racers love them.
Oh, wow.
They say time and again how much they appreciate these guys being here, because you got to be able to go out and do your job in these boats, and the guys will tell you that they can't do that as effectively if they're like worried about what's going to happen to them possibly.
And if you're new to the sport here in Ocean City, you've never watched one of these catamarans, and there are canopied V-bottom boats as well, but these catamarans, and one reason why the diver didn't deploy was the boat was upright. And the biggest concern is when a boat goes over and it's upside down. It's a canopied boat. The driver and throttle man are strapped into the boat, of course, with full safety gear. But you've got to make sure that they're okay. They're upside down. If they're up, and the diver goes in the water, there's actually a hatch on the top of the tunnel where they can get into the cockpit. So
that's the floor of the boat.
That's right.
For the driver and the throttleman.
That's right.
So that's usually how they come out, rather than going out through underneath them, basically.
Right.
But we've got the boats lined up again with a yellow flag, so the pace boat's going to get them on plane, and when they feel that they've got a good, legal, evenly competitive start, the green flag will go, and we'll get this thing going again.
So the DeFalco Doug Wright will have the inside lane. Hank's Saloon out of Key West, Florida. That's where their sponsor is from. We'll have lane 2, and Montlick Injury Attorneys, your national leader on the APBA series, will be sitting in lane 3.
I'm surprised they kind of pulled them up and then stopped them, because the yellow's still up.
13 laps, 52 miles. Here for Factory 450R, these boats again are 38, 39 feet. These are all Doug Wright, so they're all 38 with the twin 450R 4-stroke engines. The 450R is built on the same block as the 300R, which another class Superstock runs.
It's just supercharged.
It's supercharged with forced induction to the power head.
Here we go.
The extra 150 horsepower provides a lot of air boost to the motor and torque on the low end, and a maximum RPM limit set to 6,400 RPM. And there's our 3 boats that'll be racing. Doug Wright's.
Okay,
all
the
of them.
rooster tails have just come up, so there must be a green flag just off the screen, because they're not going slow now. You can see DeFalco, Doug Wright getting out to a good start. Hanks is falling back, so I wonder if they had an issue before the race was red flagged and it's just rearing its ugly head again. But look at Montlick on the outside now.
Yep.
Pulling out to a little bit of a lead.
This is where Gladiator Canos had some trouble. You can see
Let's just
that
see how
Montlick is struggling with attitude a little bit on that outside lane.
Yeah, DeFalco just took a little bit of a hop there too, so there's something right by the start buoy that we're going to need to keep an eye on, but they got through that okay, and now DeFalco, Doug Wright, is holding the inside lane, the shorter line around the course.
And Montlick has to hold this outside lane until he gets through turn number 1.
Right.
Can't move over. He's got to until he gets up here to turn 1.
And this has quickly developed into a 2-boat race, because off the screen, there's Hanks, you can see, is they're off the pace. First thing that comes to mind when you see that is some type of a guardian issue where the engine senses something and goes basically into a shutdown mode to protect itself. That's what the computers are on there for.
Mike Falco and Billy Moore leading in the DeFalco Doug Wright team, trailed by the Montlick Injury Attorneys team. That's
Gary
Logan
Ballou.
Adon and Gary Ballou as his throttle man. We follow him on the back stretch, now heading northbound here on this 4-mile course.
Both of them look like they have a now Montlick has just moved to the inside. Let's see. And Hank Saloon is still running. I mean, they're going to run as long as they can. to try to get the points. If it's a season-long consideration, then they want to get as many points as they can at every race they go to.
76 degrees here in Ocean City, a west-northwest wind, 12 miles an hour. As the red dug right, DeFalco has about a 6-boat length lead.
See what the interval is when they come by us at the buoy here. But the boat looks good, it's holding a good attitude. Billy Moore didn't have much time in this boat to try to do any setup. Gary Ballou didn't have any more time in the Montlick boat. They're both new teams in these boats, but they're experienced throttlemen. So as the race goes on, don't be surprised if the lap times get quicker.
Making the turn at number 2.
I don't think this is what Kobe Harrison had in mind for his first race, but he's still getting the experience of being in a race boat.
And we get a good look at the air packing down the tunnel of the 38 dug right, getting a little bit more bounce than they like.
Yeah, let's see what happens when he comes by start finish here, because that's where, and look at this shot from the X-Insurance helicopter.
Yeah, Montlick Injury Attorneys team, Logan Adon and Gary Ballou running in second in factory 450R.
Everyone settling in now to their, and
DeFalco dug right, turned that
I
lap
got
at
4 seconds
about
between
80
the two.
miles an hour.
So DeFalco 1, Montlick 2.
They're running very cautiously here after the early turnover of Gladiator Canados. Turned the boat completely over, tore the starboard engine off right in front of the start-finish line as the race was opening.
See now if Gladiator had those bright green cowlings, it would make it a lot easier for the salvage guys to get that motor out of the water.
Yeah, it would. It's pretty, didn't it have orange? I thought it was covered.
It has some orange on the
Yeah,
top on that
yeah.
like stripe down the middle.
So it won't be super hard, that's for sure. As we look on top, Mike Falco get a go in the factory 450R class.
Yep.
With Billy Moore, who's an experienced outboard operator.
Yeah, Mike seems to like to just get in any boat he can. I ran into him at the Outer Limits Owners 30th Anniversary Fun Run last summer. He was there in his Outer Limits.
Yeah, he's. I asked him about his poker running and high performance boating. He says, right now I'm focused on racing. And now he's giving it a shot in one of the most popular new classes in powerboat racing,
And
Factory 450R.
And that boat is for sale.
Yep. And I mean, these boats are all out of the factory.
Yep, dug right.
They have stock engines from Mercury. Everybody's got the same specs, the same power. It's one design racing.
Yeah, they will likely end up, I don't know, I think the class voted on switching to the 5, because the 450 is going to be phased out, from what I understand, and replaced with the new 500s as far as at the retail and consumer level. So that means the racers are probably going to do the same thing when the class decides to do it together.
And earlier I spoke with Michel Carcente about that, and he says these boats are going to be very fast. He expects that there will be a weight penalty, as Montlick looks to be making up some time, has to go to the outside, maybe able to make more speed around. He really went outside.
It'll be interesting to see how, I was just going to say, how if they get light being this close to the beach, because it's going to get bumpier as the water gets shallower, right?
Yeah, it does seem that
that was a very wide turn.
He is definitely getting out of the water more, closer to shore that they get.
And they're going to be dealing with the wake from Hanks, but not much. It's, even though Hanks is well off, the catamarans don't make a huge wake.
A good shot of how close these boats come in front of the fans at Ocean City. When you're thinking about planning your vacation at a powerboat race next year, imagine yourself right there.
And DeFalco is in the lead, and Montlick's coming up the outside. I would say it's 2 seconds maybe now. I did not get the stopwatch out for that one, but he's definitely closed it.
Yeah, they're going to lap Hanks right now. Hanks having some troubles as they go to the outside. And DeFalco Doug Wright turned that lap again right at about 80 miles an hour. I think they're using a lot of caution here. They know that there's only 2 boats out on the course.
And they just got to keep the one behind them.
Montlick with a nice line around.
Yeah, now
and
Montlick
take it
has
to the
moved to the inside.
Yeah, he's trying to stay out of that dirty water. We talked about that earlier. These boats want the clean water. It's why, obviously, if you're in the lead, you could take the line that you want. You get the clean water. Props don't have to go through aerated water. They grip better. But now
Montlick's crossing back through the. See, every time you go sideways, you're not going forward.
Right.
So he does he hurts himself a little bit time-wise there, but if he feels like he can get open water and be able to accelerate, I'm sure that Gary and Logan are kind of collaborating there, but they're getting a little looser. He's trimming a little more, so let's see what happens here.
As he stays just on his hip, continues to run in second. Montlick Injury Attorneys has won 2 of the 3 races this year in Factory 450R.
Yeah, and where we're going to have to watch things too was one boat set up better for the start and one boat set up better for later of the 13 laps. I mean, we're only on lap 3.
DeFalco, 1. Montlick Injury, 2.
Now, do you think this is a situation of you break it, you buy it?
Oh, that's cruel. There was something like that happened in Mod V in Lotto Lake of the Ozarks. Britt Lilly lent Steve Miklos an engine, and the crankshaft blew. And
see what happens there.
Yeah, no. And Steve already told me. He texted him immediately. He said, "Do you want cash or check?" So,
now this is a situation where you wonder if some might be watching this, because it looks like DeFalco took a wide turn there, which then forces Montlick. So you're wondering why Montlick maybe isn't trying to go inside, coming out of that north end to get away from the beach.
Well, there's a lot of racing still to go, as we just completed lap 3 of 13.
Yep, they're going to be
DeFalco, Doug Wright, Mike Falco, and Billy Moore continuing to lead. Right behind them, Montlick Injury Attorneys. Just holding a steady lap, about 3-minute lap, 4-mile course, about 80 miles an hour. Look overhead at the X-Insurance Helicam, Logan Adon, and his throttleman Gary Ballou.
Yep. Montlick is based out of Atlanta.
But a national injury attorneys team, glad to have them on board.
Let's see now, are they going to try? Yeah, they're coming inside the turn now to try to shorten the course. Let's see what that did for him. I mean, Mike's going to defend his line the best he can, but let's see if now are they setting them up to try to come inside when they get to that north end of the turn, and if Mike Falco takes that wider line again, because he left the lane there if someone was there.
Well, there
the last 2 times.
They put the juice on, throttles down. Throttle man's got to stay on the power. If the boat comes out of the water, they have what they call lift, which is pull back on the throttles to make sure that they don't over rev the engines.
Yeah, and especially with these engines, because if they sense an over rev, they will go into that Guardian mode that we talked about, and then you'll lose power.
So it looks like DeFalco, Doug Wright has kind of shut the door on Montlick as we head back into the north turn.
Yeah, this is where DeFalco, Doug Wright has gone wide in the last couple of laps. So let's see if, nope, because now Montlick went back outside again.
Same as the lap before. We'll have to get ready for the turn. Again, these boats are at the top end speed on the straightaways, but they have to set up for the turns. And races are generally won in the turn. You want to have as high entry speed as you can and high as exit speed as you can.
Now
look at
Montlick tried to go inside, but I don't think Mike's giving him room.
Nope.
So he's defending his line.
They made a really wide turn there.
They went real wide there.
They made a super wide. Montlick dove inside, took advantage, A miscue by DeFalco, Doug Wright, and Mottlick is pulled even with him and maybe a nose ahead. And he has the advantage in the inside line here.
But they're both flying it a little more coming out of that
They
turn
are.
and coming south.
But DeFalco put the throttles down. Billy Moore did, and now his nose back ahead again. Great battle between Doug Wright powerboats, 38 catamarans with factory 450R Mercury racing engines. These are engines you can buy right out at the shop, 450R.
You just don't get the warranty when you race them.
That's right, and they continue to hold an 80-mile-per-hour speed.
Yeah, so I wonder what the conversation was on that turn between Mike and Billy.
As Hank Saloon continues to limp around the course. DeFalco, number 1, and Mottlick Injury Attorneys team number 2. As they go around that south turn.
And now Montlick's back inside again, seeing if he can get close enough to be able to stick a nose in there before. Because right now, DeFalco's still kind of in a defending mode. But now they're going to lap Hanks, so Montlick saw that, and they have to go around the outside because Hanks had the inside line, which is where the slower boat is told to run. The faster boats are supposed to overtake on the outside, so see how the strategy plays out.
So go back on top with the X-Insurance Helicam and look down on Mottlick, again, as I mentioned earlier, leading the APBA National High Point Series. And this is a double points race, North Atlantic Championship, North American Championship on APBA. So a lot of points on the line here, especially for Mottlick, who already has a commanding lead on the National Series.
Yeah, when that boat made its debut in Marathon, it looked good. And then it came back out and had a tough time in Cocoa Beach, but then ran real strong in Lake of the Ozark, which is MTI's home waters.
That's right.
So you can imagine that probably felt pretty good to the Doug Wright team to go and do it there.
Watch those races. What expansive coverage they have at Lotto Lake of the Ozarks, local television, then distributed across a bunch of cable systems throughout the Missouri area. Of course, it was on live stream, and Rod Smith, Bob Teague doing a good job. Brad Harrington,
Lake TV.
Lake TV. The commitment to media there in the lake area, which is a hub of high performance powerboating, was pretty amazing. What they put together visually for us to watch out there.
Yeah, that was they always put on a good event. I mean, if you've ever watched the shootout, that has turned into a week long.
Oh, probably the biggest, just
single event,
eye-popping event that happens in powerboating in the world is the Lake of the Ozarks shootout, where they do kilo runs and speed runs out in Missouri. There's the end of lap number 5.
Yeah, it's 2 seconds between first and second right now. So
that lap turned at 79.5 miles an hour. So at this point, this may be the strategy of these boats after the early flip of Gladiator Canados went over, busted an engine off right in front of the beach here, and caused a red flag, making sure everybody stays safe.
Making sure they have enough fuel.
That's another good point.
Because that's another lap that they weren't expecting to run.
The rest of the way.
And they calculated pretty close.
Tomorrow the racing resumes here at the Ocean City Grand Prix. Sunday at noon, the Mod Vs. Those are V-bottom canopy boats with home-build, naturally aspirated engines right in about the 650 horsepower range. And they turn speeds close to 100 miles an hour. You will be very impressed at these very loud sounding inboard engines, different manufacturers.
Single engine, narrow beam. They can get wild.
Yep.
They can get a little chine walking. But they're they're a great race to watch.
As we look overhead, the X Insurance Helicam of the Doug Ray Powerboats in it.
Hank Saloon.
Yep. At 1:30 tomorrow, the more V bottoms come out, bracketed 2, 3, and 4, and the Super Vs will run, and then at 3 o'clock, the Super Cats, and they're the big catamarans with different engine manufacturers, canopy boats that top out at over 120 miles an hour. Of course, we talked about the United States Coast Guard and their commitment to excellence here in Ocean City, Maryland. Also, we want to thank the OCPD, the OC Fire Department, RWO Medical.
Maryland DNR, Department of Natural Resources.
Yeah, doing a great job. The entire city of Ocean City pulling out all resources here to help make this event a great success on the Eastern Shore, Ocean City, Maryland. Coming around end of lap number 7.
I've got into 6.
Yeah, 6. Double checking. So that's the end of 6 of 13.
I mean, Logan's trying everything. He's back and forth across this race course, and I'm sure Billy's telling Mike, just defend. Make him work.
As DeFalco comes through.
That's the end of 6.
Right, holding that 80-mile-an-hour lap speed. Trailed his rear by Montlick. Montlick Injury Attorneys. Some ups there. Settles the boat back down.
Still got 7 laps to go, so we're halfway through this lap.
Again, the 450R is built from the same block as the 300R. Again, as you mentioned, Eric, the supercharging is really the big difference. It also has a sophisticated pickup system. It's a little bit different than the 300R, which is more of a competition grade. It has the AMS, Advanced Midsection Integrated Steering System with power steering and dual trim band that they use.
And then the 500 has a humidity sensor, and it accounts for the level of humidity, and so you don't get as affected by a real hot, humid day. So the technology that Mercury's putting into these motors is, and the thing is when I've done a few articles about them through the years, and they're planning this stuff out 3 and 5 years in advance. So they know what's coming down the line in like 2028 already.
Great shot of Montlick Injury Attorneys. Hey, big shout out to Nikki Montlick, who joined us in Marathon. We've seen her at a couple of the other races on the live streams. And super to have Montlick Injury Attorneys, a nationwide firm, sponsoring APBA racing in the factory 450R class.
Yeah, just to see a group like that want to be here it's a boost for the sport anytime you can get a good sponsor in.
Yeah, and they're so interactive with the people when they get out to these events. Montlick Injury Attorneys running in second here in.
Yep, moved back to the inside, but they're not able to take the tight turn to try to duck underneath. I think Billy and Mike are still running the line they want. So they're making Gary and Logan maybe not do exactly what they want to try to cut into that lead.
Back to the leader, DeFalco, Doug Wright. The DeFalco team, Mike Falco and Billy Moore continuing to lead. This is the end of lap number 7 with 6 left to go in the Ocean City Grand Prix. Here off the beautiful beaches of Ocean City, Maryland, off the boardwalk. Magnificent beaches here, and the fans continuing to enjoy. That's the fastest lap they turned today at 81 miles an hour.
And they're back out now to about a 4.5 second lead. How do you think that boat would look with that DeFalco Racing wrap like the Class 1 boat? I think that would look pretty nice.
That is a great livery on that boat. The New York
Yeah.
Skyline,
That's cool.
the Class 1 boat. It is a classy.
And they have that Class 1 boat hauling the mail, too. There's just a little bit of consistency, a little bit of attrition is bitting them, but
Yep.
Billy's got that boat running fast.
Yeah, they had the lead in both starts this year,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't meet two nicer guys either. I think they probably have a good vibe together.
Well, they're
Mike,
both so low-key.
They are very low key.
Mike's kind of that low-key New York.
Yes,
How you doing?
good, but always shake with a smile.
Always shake your hand.
Shake
Yep.
your hand, and he loves powerboat racing. On the wheel here with Billy Moore, and in the lead. Last year, that was the lead Doug Wright boat
Yep.
that Logan Adon drove as just a rookie driver last year. And he's with Gary Ballou right now.
Yeah, the interval opened up to 6 seconds on the back leg. So, Doug, so is the setup actually coming to Doug Wright DeFalco now, or?
One thing Gary Ballou told me after he watched Logan Adon race in Marathon is that he said that kid drove one heck of a race.
Yes.
And throughout the year, he said it's amazing how, and we're talking about these amazing young people in the sport, and he echoed it again in Key West when I talked to him that he thought that Logan Adon was a fantastic driver, and now he's teamed up with him.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see.
Gary
How
Ballou
they-
and Logan Adon and the Montlick Injury Attorneys.
I'll be curious to see how they feel after working together for this race.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be together moving forward, from what I understand.
Looks like DeFalco has stretched out that lead a little bit more here as they come back in at the end of lap number 8. There'll be 5 more laps to go here in the Ocean City Grand Prix in the Factory 450R class as we get back to your leaders, Falco and Moore. Across the start-finish line, and they bumped it up to 82.5 miles an hour on that lap.
Yeah, and they opened up the interval now to close to 9.5 seconds. So I have that as the end of lap 7. Is that what you have?
That's correct. No, yeah, on to lap 8. Now,
Yes. Okay.
looking off at the boardwalk, the amusements there near the inlet,
Look at the crowd on that beach.
on the south side of Ocean City Beach.
And then they get to see all the boats coming out and going in. So there'll be another test session this afternoon. So the people who want to just watch boats go fast up and down the ocean, the coast, there will still be more boats out there.
I'd like to thank Tom Palazzo of the tourism board here. Stopped by earlier to talk with us about Ocean City. It was really interesting to hear him talk about the work that they put in keeping the beaches clean. You won't find a gum wrapper. You won't find any garbage. They clean it every night, turn it over.
Yep.
And it shows in the loyalty that the area tourism showing up here in droves every summer.
And if you don't think the people love these beaches, I looked out my balcony at 7:30. There was a woman setting up her chair. And we're getting word that the interval opened up to 10 seconds on the back leg between basically 2 and 1. Or one.
Yeah, the DeFalco, Doug Wright, is putting on quite a race here today against the leader in the National Series, Montlick Injury Attorneys, who pretty much checked out against the fleet at Lotto
Yep.
at Lake of the Ozarks.
And at Marathon.
Absolutely right. This is a new generation Doug Wright, the Montlick boat is. A brand new build. They put all kinds of custom stuff in it. Reinforced the deck. Put
Yep.
Another bulkhead up by the pickle forks.
Just strengthen it, make it safer.
Made a big wing on the back to try and help funnel water to the lower units.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to what Billy Moore has to say about this boat.
I am too.
Because it sure looks to me like he's enjoying it.
This is the
This
first,
the Doug Wright DeFalco.
the first generation of their build. Montlick is the second, but it's last year's top Doug Wright boat to start the season that leads here in Ocean City after lap number 9. And again, turned to lap at over 81 miles an hour with 4 left to go.
And it's still about 10 seconds for an interval on the between first and second. So when do Billy and Mike start hearing things?
Well, you also got to consider, and again, we had a mishap at the very beginning of the race as Gladiator Canados went over in front of the crowd, turned over completely, and landed right side up, but busted off the starboard engine. So we got a red flag. You have to consider, too, that Billy and Mike run together and have run together for a while, and I know it's a new boat, but Logan and Gary, this is their first time in the boat, and literally they had just gotten in the boat together for the first time this week, so they don't have
this morning.
Yeah, that's correct.
They had to spend yesterday getting the seating and the footrests and everything right for Gary to be able to fit, and just because every person's a little different dimensionally, and so most of yesterday was just getting the cockpit altered so he'd be comfortable in there.
Look at a boat that made the journey here to Ocean City, but not a great day for them. They're struggling across the course. The Hanks Saloon out of Key West, Florida. As we go back to the X Insurance Telecam to your leader here in Factory 450R.
So far, a good day for them.
Yeah, Mike Falco and Billy Moore. All of these 450R boats use the Sean Tarenti racing bracket, the jack plate, the STR.
And I'm pretty sure they all use, Hanks, according to Scott Porte, Hanks is using a Porte bracket.
Is he? That's good information to know.
I thought that's what I saw in the post this morning from Scott when he introduced us to Kobe, but I'd want to double check that. But and obviously they all have to run Mercury propellers, but that's one of the reasons why there isn't a huge rush to move on to the 500s for this class, because the 500s have a bigger prop shaft, so the teams would all have to get into all new sets of propellers.
And those
things aren't cheap.
No, I was going to say it's a huge investment. It's an important investment because without the right, you got to make all the setup changes and decisions based on the conditions. You need the right propellers to do that. So we watch your top 2 boats, and now back to the overall leader, Mike Falco, Billy Moore in the DeFalco Doug Wright boat. So they finish up lap number 10 here. Pretty much maybe for just a second didn't have the lead, but pretty much at the end of every lap they've led. That lap turned to just a shade under 80 miles an hour. Go back to the X Insurance Telecam.
Wow, what's going on here?
And
Montlick is down.
Montlick is not running at speed.
Oh, they are off the pace.
They could have had a Guardian issue. If you're not familiar with Guardian, it's a protection built into Mercury engines that if you get an overheating,
low oil pressure, anything, voltage issue, the engine will basically reduce the amount of power by a percentage, so you can still get home, but you're not going to compete at racing speeds.
It can be reset.
Yep.
And it could just.
Because it looks like they just reset it.
They did.
But now Falco Doug Wright is out to a sizable lead, and you would think their land-based crew has told them this, and just kind of go into cruise control. I'm not sure Billy has that mode, but
I think they've run a pretty conservative race up to this point, knowing that they don't know the boat super well, and then obviously their competition behind them is in the boat for the first time, so they're real lucky. But it's been a nice day for the Doug Wright crew because their boats have looked pretty well here, and they've been able to keep them to the water. These top two boats, and this one in particular, the new generation 38 Doug Wright, has won 2 of the 3 previous races so far this year, and with double points here in this North American Championship race, a special double points race on the American Powerboat Association season, they're going to jump forward quite a bit.
And Gary Ballou was actually the first to collaborate with Doug Wright all those years ago on a stock boat. After he and Alan Butler moved out of Emotion. Now, there's a little bit
Big
of a
ups,
flyer
yep.
for Doug Wright to Falco, but
Settle a boat down.
yep. Not too much is going to catch Billy Moore off guard. He just kind of felt that and said, okay.
In that instance, if you're new to powerboat racing, when the boat came out of the water, the throttle man's got to get off the throttle, is going to lift, and then get right back on them immediately.
Because you want to keep driving the boat forward. You don't want to get it into that up and down off. So the main thing is to keep it flying level and moving forward.
As they come around, continuing to lead, DeFalco, Doug Wright, Mike Falco, Billy Moore turned that one at 79 miles an hour, so they're holding steady now. Got it up to just under 82 on a couple of laps. Pretty much run it right at about 80 all day long. That's assuming that this is a 4-mile course, of course, which it's supposed to be.
Yep.
A marathon, we initially started clocking 450R boats, but the course was actually 0.7 miles an hour longer, which will change your mile per hour speeds.
And the team that really got cost there was Dirty Money.
Yes.
Because they were leading, and then they ran out of gas with a commanding lead. So
that's a Super Cat boat that, well, I'll tell you what, that Super Cat racing has been amazing this year.
And gosh, what a place for Britt Lilly to break through with a Super Cat win would be Maryland.
In his
home
waters.
Yeah. That would be very cool to see tomorrow.
Yeah, Britt Lilly teams up with Bill
Pyburn,
Pyburn in Super Cat. Of course, the reigning 2-time world champion is out of Lake of the Ozarks. That's Tyler Miller. And in Myra Coyle in the MCOM, Johnny Tomlinson is subbing for Tyler, who has a back that's healing right now. Of course, Billy Moore will be back on the water tomorrow in Great Dell with CJ Grant.
And what a thrash they went through after spinning the boat out.
Yeah, a lot
in
of
Lake of the Ozarks to have it, and it looked fast this morning.
Have it back here tomorrow. You've got Rolling Transport, the SVR Short Team, Hancock Claims, CR Racing, WHM Motorsports, Billy Moff coming off a win, and he and Jay Muller have been very competitive this year in WHM. They've really got that boat working well in the off season, and always a tough team to beat. They won more Super Cat World Championships since the reset of the class in 2012 than any other team, WHM.
Years ago, when it was open class, Doug Wright had a boat that ran in the class. I think it was like a 38. I would love to see them get a Super Cat out here.
Super Cat Racing is the tip of the spear on American Powerboat Association Racing. You'll see them tomorrow at 2:30 as they'll roar off the waters of Ocean City, Maryland tomorrow afternoon. Heading in off the second to last lap of the day in Factory 450R, DeFalco, Doug Wright. Again, dealing with that groundswell coming across.
Still at about 78.
Still 79.68 miles an hour, just under. And now Montlick Injury Attorneys is back up and running up and good at speed.
So they must have had a guardian issue. That's more than likely you would think what had happened. Let's put it that way.
As we look on the back leg with Hank's Saloon, we appreciate Now making the journey here at Ocean City. We go back overhead again, the X Insurance Helicam, and watch our leader around the south turn. And out for the final lap of the day. Amazing weather here in Ocean City. The winds continuing to hold out of the west-northwest under 15 miles an hour. Perfect racing weather, 76 degrees this afternoon. Sunny, beautiful day here on the eastern shore of Maryland.
Yeah, I'm just looking down at the course, and there's a bunch of dolphins playing around out by the start-finish line. But
Doug Wright, 38 Catamaran.
Playing around pretty nicely themselves, too, in this boat. What a way to make a sales pitch. Anyone wants to get in the class.
I always loved that boat. Just a magnificent red, covery simple.
And that's not an easy color to keep looking nice on a boat in the hot sun. That takes some work to get that right the first time and then keep it that way for sure.
Doug Wright Powerboats jumped on board with the factory 450R class to battle against Marine Technologies, who founded the class. Now we have quite a fleet growing, and what will turn out to be an amazing end of the APBA National Series and all the way to the Key West World Championships the second week of November in Key West. And Michelle Crescenti had told me that there's another boat that's going to come out of the Doug Wright factory that may race later this year, which would give you one more Doug Wright than MTI, I believe, racing.
Wonder where they're getting that one rigged.
That's a good question. We'll talk to the Doug Wright guys about that. Maybe have that information for you tomorrow. And here coming back in front of the fans for the final time of the afternoon, DeFalco, Doug Wright, finishing up the day. Led every lap as they come back in on this 52-mile course. And they'll take the checkered flag here at the Ocean City Grand Prix.
There's the checkered flag out on the pace boat.
And win those double points in the National Series.
And this, after the start they've had with some weird gremlins and some tough luck in the other boat, this one's got to feel good for Billy and for Mike.
And then we'll look at your number 2 boat, the new generation 38 Doug Wright. Motley Injury Attorneys, they'll take second here today. Will continue their dominating run on the APBA National Series, now with a commanding lead on the APBA National Championships in Factory 450R. Motley Injury Attorneys team, Logan Adon and Gary Ballou.
Nicely done, gentlemen.
Second place here today at the Ocean City Grand Prix. Well, it was a race that started with a big, oh boy, oh no, which was the turnover of the Gladiator Canados right at the beginning of the race in front of the fans at the start-finish line. Kind of got up into the air. They were on the outside lane, really close to the beach, and caught the sponson. Hit bad, went up over. The engine got knocked off on the starboard side. Luckily, though, Eric, they landed back right side up, back on the hull, and did not flip over. Michelle Carcente, Irvin Grant, both okay, but it did pull up a red flag. But that's how the race started. Of the 4 Doug Wrights here to race in Factory 450R. Waiting for the checkered flag.
Be curious to see how quickly the salvage boat deploys to come get that motor.
Oh, I have a feeling it will be pretty soon.
Because I'm also curious how far it moved. Because stuff's moving around out there.
Yeah, I mean, water's a powerful force. There's no doubt.
There's Billy standing on the deck. I think that's Billy. Doesn't look tall enough to be Mike. Mike's a big guy.
He is. He's feeling good, though, coming up out of the cockpit to take a look at his checkered flag. Yeah, he's waving to the crowd. Okay. Victory for Mike Falco.
Geez. We almost lost the guy from the
Good recovery.
He's got to learn to stay close to those rails.
And there
There
they
you
are.
go.
Billy Moore holding the checkered flag. Victory is sweet for Mike Falco in the Falco Doug Wright 38 here today. Big hugs. And a checkered flag at the Ocean City Grand Prix for Falco and Moore in their first race ever in the class.
I would say JR from Doug Wright Powerboats did a pretty nice job of recruiting a replacement crew there for that boat.
Very good. Very nice day. Motley Injury Attorneys takes second. Hank's Saloon takes third in this double points North American Championship race of the American Powerboat Association Series. Special thanks and a tip of our cap to Rick Lindsay aboard the X Insurance helicopter and Parker Lindsay manning the camera, giving us great shots for today's show here on the Race World Offshore live stream.
I'd say that whetted the fans' appetites pretty well. First day.
Amazing weather we have here. What a beautiful day on the eastern shore of Maryland. Couldn't ask for anything more, and a great host of powerboat racing here in Ocean City. The Race World Offshore live stream is brought to you by Maximum Inflation. Stay safe and prepared on the water with Leland Management's Maximum Inflation CO2 cartridges, trusted by the U.S. military, NASA, and the U.S. Coast Guard. Find these reliable rearming kits at West Marine, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, and local marine stores. Yeah, I mean, look at those beaches. Amazing. They're expansive.
Yeah.
You can't even look down the beach and see the end of it. It's amazing.
And it's nice out today, too. It's not too hot.
Oh,
It's mid-70s, right?
Yep, 76 degrees last check, and we had light winds.
No, you're a Florida guy. Are you cold up here when it's 75?
No. No, I was cold in the operating room, driver's meeting room.
Oh,
this
yeah,
morning. That was
a
freezing.
meat locker.
Yeah. Now I would not do well in the 68 degree water here. Just being a guy that was kind of used to water that was in the 70s, high 70s to say that. And special thanks to Radio Ocean City, our live radio broadcast, also going out here to the local fans at the Beach Vibe at RadioOceanCity.com. We'll be back doing all of that tomorrow. Of course,
Starting at noon, right?
Yeah, starting at yes, the races start at noon, so we'll probably be on the air. I expect Eric, by about 11:30, I would think.
Yeah, and here's the boats out testing. Again, that's the CR Racing is out on the water now, the Super Cat.
Yeah, so for local fans that are still out there, and you will be seeing some boats come around. This is testing that will start this afternoon. It'll be the final time for these boats to get out and test. And tomorrow, racing gets underway at noon. Again, the Mod Vs, the monohulls, canopied with the naturally aspirated power, start at noon.
And the remaining bracket boats too, right?
The bracket boats come out with the Super Vs.
At the second race.
The second race of the day, which is at 1:30. Super Vs and the bracket 2, 3s, and 4.
Yep.
And then at 3 o'clock, the big catamarans with the naturally aspirated power. That's the Super Cat 800 horsepower engine. So they're packing 1,600 roughly horsepower. 38-foot catamarans. They race at 2:30 tomorrow here at the Ocean City Grand Prix.
I do think that lane draw tomorrow morning is going to be critical.
Oh, I agree.
Because this isn't that wide of a course to have 8 or 9, is it?
Yeah, and as it showed earlier,
7 or 8 going into the first turn.
Yeah, and when
so how much closer are they going to be with double, basically the width of the boats?
And I do believe, I mean, it's approved with Gladiator Canados that the outside of this course is a little more tricky.
Yep.
The closer you get to shore, it seemed.
Yep.
And when DeFalco and Motley Injury Attorneys team they were running closer to shore, they had a little bit more handling problems. Now, of course, the Super Cat boats are a lot heavier.
Yeah, they're the same length basically, but they are heavier because they're stern drives.
Yep, and they weigh 9,500, 10,000 pounds, so they're roughly 3,500, 4,000 pounds heavier than the factory 450R class. Hey, special thanks to Ocean City. Plan your visit at ococean.com. To Teasers in Key West, they await your next visit upstairs at 218 Duval. Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the APBA National Series. And Sunoco Race Fuels, go fast. Locate near you at SunocoRaceFuels.com. We'd also like to thank our hotel sponsors, Harrison Group, Aloft OC, Hilton Garden Inn Oceanfront, Residence Inn, Hilton Hotel and Resorts, Holiday Inn, Quality Inn Boardwalk Hotel, Courtyard by Marriott. And also, special thanks goes out to RadioOceanCity.com. We'd also like to thank Crab Alley, Bull on the Beach, Racing Communications, and Southern Racing Fuels. Well, fun day here in Ocean City. Couldn't ask for better hosts for powerboat racing than the city of Ocean City, and the fans here got quite a show. Tomorrow it's going to be a whole lot more of racing. Eric Colby is Speed on the Water. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. The weather forecast looks like it's going to be positive. And, if we get conditions like this tomorrow, even a little bumpier, that's going to be perfect for the big boats.
As we mentioned, we'll go on right about 11:30. Racing starts at 12 noon, the Ocean City Grand Prix. And again, you can watch it live again at Race World Offshore's YouTube channel and at Race World Offshore's Facebook page. You can link there directly, as well as get the full schedule of events at raceworldoffshore.com. Details about all the other races on the season when we wrap up for the World Championships as usual, which we've done for over 4 decades in beautiful Key West, Florida in November. And again, if you're going out on the beach or out on the boat and you're just watching with your eyeballs and you don't need the live stream, you can listen locally at RadioOceanCity.com. On behalf of all of our guests, special thanks go out to Joe and Oslenberg, our camera operators, and our producer, Chris Bennett from Extreme Angles. Great show. Special thanks again to Rick and Parker Lindsay, X-Insurance Helicam. Fantastic work, all. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you out there from the planet, from the powerboat world, watching us out there on the live stream tomorrow right here. We'll see you there tomorrow again for the Ocean City Grand Prix.